And once again, we are back here with the ASL Season 20 Group E this time, Xun, in the round of 24. And I am extremely excited to be casting Jaedong here today. He's been on such a roll. Double all kill in the KCM recently, and he's looking like his old tyrant self. Oh. I'm sorry, Xun, your voice was not coming through. Bit of a false start here, guys. That's the first time that's happened. I think they can. All right. Xun, your mic is live. I apologize, my friend. Go ahead.
I mean, things happen, saying it is what it is. I'll instead segue into talking about their qualifier matches to save time. So Rush crushed through his group. He took out Higher in a TVT finals on his day one run. No surprise at all to see this guy here in the ASL. He is simply one of the best Terrans, and there's not a lot more that needs to be said about him in that regard. But Jaedong is on fire recently. He's been absolutely demolishing through pro gamers in the KCM, the double kill like you were talking about. And behind the scenes lately, he's even taken out the likes of Nada. And Nada's like one of these most genius gamers and favorites of mine of all time in his semifinals and in his first qualifier run. And he made it through by bringing down Harang in the finals, who was responsible for knocking out Motive. Super sad, personally, to not see Nada here in the ASL, but maybe he just needs more time to practice and join us in the next one. Having Jaedong in good shape is a great gift to us still. Then we've got Mong. Mong actually took out Queen in the semifinals of his day one qualifier run. He has come a long way in improving his TVZ, but there's still work to be done. Then Mong eliminated Piano TVT in the finals. Who was the guy actually, the slapdown baby? That's TY, originally before he got in on his next attempt. And then finally, Paralyze. He had a really good run in his day one qualifiers. He, taking down Ivory PVZ, then Mind PVT 2-0 in the semis, and then even Bisu PvP in the finals. So yeah, as I said in previous groups cast, don't sleep on this guy. He could cause an upset here today.
It's always cool to see a new face here in ASL. Paralyze there on the stage now, sitting right next to Jaedong. Probably been a fan of these guys on stage with him for such a long time. I bet it's a bit of a surreal experience for him, sitting among these great long-time Brood War players, and he'll have to shake off the nerves that arise when such an occasion comes to meet you. It's going to be a tough thing to keep your blood cool and your head clear, but he will have to do so if he wants to make it through this group. He's got to cause an upset here if he wants to keep his life alive in ASL this season.
Oh, absolutely. He used to be called the Afro Toss back in the day because his hairstyle was a lot different than it is now. And he is technically a PVT specialist. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe this guy on screen, Mong, will have a harder time against him as well as Rush. He's first up against Rush in this match number one. So, I mean, it's possible there could be an upset. I mean, like we talked about Rush being such a solid player, but I mean, anything can happen in a single game of StarCraft. Like, sure, Rush would probably beat him in a best of 7 or a best of 5, but in best of 1, I mean, anything can happen, Sam.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And Mong looking pretty dapper here on stage today. Looks like he brought the hair gel out. Wants to look his best for the cameras and might be showing us something special in his match versus Rush if it does come to that. We're going to start off, of course, with Rush versus Paralyze and Jaedong versus Mong. I don't really rate Mong versus Jaedong here just because I know how strong Jaedong is. Like, it's pretty impressive that he took out Queen in the qualifiers, but Jaedong looking extra special right now. I think that he's going to have a pretty solid run today.
No, you're absolutely right. But I mean, in recent years, they're actually in KCM and online events. Mong and Jaedong have been a little bit back and forth. I think Jaedong just slightly coming out ahead in those results, especially with his recent win over him in the KCM. But I mean, overall, they have been a little bit even with their online records. I don't know if that's just a stylistic thing. I mean, Jaedong sometimes does have a problem against those macro Terrans. He's much better dealing with those more tech-centric Terrans that are a lot more technical in their affinity. Someone like Sark, Jaedong could probably pull apart, but someone that likes to sit back and macro like light, maybe Jaedong has a harder time against. We'll have to see if that's reflected here in Mong's performance today. He's not so good of his bio control, generally speaking, so Jaedong will look to exploit that.
Yeah, if he wants to go for like a 1-1-1 build, I think that Jaedong's absolutely fine with that. He likes the kind of chaotic
Yeah.
ZVT where he can take advantage of his great vast knowledge and quick decision making. Killer instinct is what he's well known for, and that's what he's had on display here recently. So if Mong wants to play that type of game, I think Jaedong's ready to meet him on that level.
Yeah, I think like the way Mong beats him is either getting fortunate with maps and positioning. Like Dominator, not always going to be the greatest position for Terran. If Mong gets lucky and gets the 3 o'clock, then maybe we can talk. But if Mong say gets the bottom left or top left, I think he's in a little bit of trouble. Maybe he can open up something, mechy or what have you. But I don't know, man. I don't like his chances against Jaedong. Generally speaking, I think we're going to be seeing some great games from the Tyrant here today. My money's on Rush and Jaedong getting out of this group. It just is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait for that uh, winners match. That's what I'm expecting. Jaedong versus Rush. That should be
Right.
a fantastic match, guys. We'll see if we end up getting that or if one of these guys can upset. We got to see how Paralyze is feeling on the day here. If he is, collected, calm, and cool against Rush, maybe he can pull something out.
Yeah, maybe he can. I mean, anything can happen in a best of one. I think that's the thing I want people to keep in their minds today is that this isn't a best of three series between these guys. So often we see upsets when it comes down to just one singular game on the line. I'm sure most of these guys are feeling pretty confident and calm on stage. Paralyze is the only guy that hasn't had as much experience in the limelight. He does look pretty calm and collected for the time being. Let's see if he also can remain laser focused, as definitely some of these other gamers will be. I'm sure that no matter what happens today, we'll be seeing good games.
That's for sure. After the all Zerg group we had yesterday, Xun, I'm really looking forward to some ZVT and PVT. It's going to be a lot of fun here. No ZVZ today, guys. We're getting a little bit of a break from that, and it's going to be Rush versus Paralyze here coming up first.
Yeah, it's going to be super sick. I can't even believe that we get to cast these high level of games. Saying it's like a dream come true when we get to bring you guys this ASL action. Both players stepping up to the plate now, getting set up in their booths, aligning their keyboards and mouse to the universe to ensure optimal gameplay. This is going to get really intense really quickly.
Rush lately in ASL has been an absolute force. He managed to make his way deep in the tournament, not quite into that top 4, but getting knocked out in the round of 8, still having a very good performance. He is an absolute machine when it comes to TVZ. He just does not let up. He's so scary and makes very few mistakes in TVP as well for players to exploit. It's very rare that we see him get caught off guard when he's trying to push with tanks, not sieging up in time, that sort of thing. It happens occasionally, but I wonder if Paralyze is capable of forcing a mistake like that out of Rush Day.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to see. I have seen some pretty impressive stuff from Paralyzed PVT in the past. I do think it's his best matchup by far. He should be able to take a good game to Rush no matter what. But I mean, Rush, yeah, he's really solid. He rarely makes those kinds of mistakes that we see so much from these slightly lower ranking Terran players. little bit worried for Paralyze. He will have a big mountain to climb, and he is one of the only Protoss players in the entire tournament, though. You can see in that round of 16, we have got a lot of Protoss players already making it through, and 2 of them seeded, actually. Bess and Snow were the seeds. Bisu and Mini have made it through thus far, so we still have plenty of Protoss action remaining in the tournament, even if Paralyze can't break out of today's group. And I think no matter what happens with these groups from now on, we're going to have a pretty good ASL shaping up.
Yeah, this is a very light Protoss season for ASL. Not many Protoss players getting in. And Paralyze, basically the only non-regular here for Protoss in the ASL this season. So, you know, he's got a lot riding on him here. Kind of the future hopes of Protoss. We've got all the old boys in the ASL so far. I mean, Stork's already gone out, of course, but he's kind of a regular here. Paralyze, carrying the hopes of the future of Protoss today.
Yeah, as far as the remaining gamers are concerned, I would like to, re-exemplify that we do have very strong players already in the round of 16. But if Paralyze doesn't make it here today, it'll be a bit of a small ratio, just 25% Protoss players going into that round of 16 if he can't make it today. But those 4 players are very heavy hitting. So, yeah, still could be a Protoss tournament at the end of the day. Just because there's not a lot of quantity doesn't mean there's no quality.
Oh, yeah. These, like we see right here, Protoss players making it all the way through into the round of 4. 2 of them, Snow and Best. If not for StRyKeR, may have already had their own championships. Like, these guys are so freaking strong. And in fact, we might have had a Rush in the round of 4 last season, if not for StRyKeR as well. He took him out in the round of 8. So I'm sure that Rush is looking forward to this season and hoping he's not going to get placed into StRyKeR's group here coming up in the round of 16.
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to those group stages. It's kind of curious, the thought process. It does seem like StRyKeR's a bit of a genius mastermind when it comes to like strategizing who's going to go in what group and how to best avoid disaster. He's been so sneaky at getting away with not having to face off against certain gamers, and we'll see if that trend continues here in the ASL. Getting a look at the statistics now, we see Rush pretty solid across the board there. Really hard, guys, to get anything 50% and above in the ASL. So seeing a 5 in front of that percentage, as long as it's not a 5%, it's seriously good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I honestly think of Rush as a stronger TVZ player, but I guess he's been matching up against StRyKeR a little bit too often in these tournaments, and getting knocked out in those longer sets versus Zerg means his ratio's gone down quite a bit. Going down below 40, I wouldn't expect that, or below 50, excuse me, I wouldn't expect that, but rest assured, guys, he is extremely strong in all matchups.
Oh, yeah. No, he's really super solid. One of the most solid, well-rounded Terrans we have. I'm not sure exactly where I'd place him in the rankings. I would have to get back to you and think about it really long and hard, but I'm pretty sure he's close to that top 4 spot when it comes to the best Terran gamers, currently speaking. We'll have to see if that's subject to change or not. Getting a little bit of a on-look screen to Paralyze there. Really looks different from back in the day. He literally had a massive afro once upon a time. Let's see how he's going to perform today. He does seem pretty calm, a little bit of nerves and jitters, but that's to be expected. Look at Rush, though. Just absolute Terminator expression, ready to kill.
Yeah, he's no stranger to this type of situation. Getting through in the round of 24 here again, is ready to hit this best of 1 hard, and we're about to get into this game, guys. Rush versus Paralyze. Let's go.
Here we go, guys. It's the ASL Season 20 match number 1, Group E, Rush versus Paralyze. And the map is going to be Dominator. Let's get this show started.
Rush. Spawning center right. Paralyze bottom left here on Dominator, as we've started out every series in the round of 24. Every first match here has been on Dominator. We'll have those vetoes for the newer maps coming up in the winners and losers match, but we're gonna come out here, show and prove on Dominator. It's been a incredibly balanced map in most of the matchups, depending on your spawns, and it's given us some great games so far. I think it's one of the better 3-player maps that we've had in a while, really, since was it Neo Sylphid? This has been a really solid 3-player map.
I think Sylphid overall slightly more balanced, but I mean, there's not too skewed either way. Like, it does usually go like a few percentage points up to 5 in either direction. Like, it's like 5% more favored towards Zerg than it is Protoss. It's similarly speaking in Terran versus Protoss, it's slightly more Terran favored than Protoss. We actually used to think that this was going to be a Protoss favored map because of these high to low ground pizza slices, making it easy for Protoss to shut down Terran timings and what have you. But players like Light very quickly figured out that the center of the board can be abused quite significantly and bottleneck up the choke up any kind of army engagements from the Protoss. And as long as you're careful about how you move your army across the map, it actually is a little bit Terran-sided.
Yeah, it does seem that way. Like, if you decide to push along the high to low ground transitions, along the pizza slices, like so many Terrans have been wanting to do, it seems very difficult. And a lot of Protoss players are able to break those pushes. Yeah, precarious is a good word for it. Pushing through the middle of the map, though, if you're very patient, calm, as you're pushing, setting up there in the middle, it's so hard to get the Terran player dislodged from that position, and you can really start to fan out, shut down the other lanes, and choke out the Protoss player slowly but surely. But it takes a lot of patience to play like that. It's a style that Light is attributed with kind of inventing on this map. That center push is incredibly strong. We'll see if it's emulated well here by Rush today.
Yeah, well, absolutely. We had a bit of attempt from Paralyze to try and get the moving shot particle beam connections on that SCV. Rush was quick to bump bellies with that probe and deny that from becoming a bit of a problem. He's trying to play catch up now, get that SCV down. This was a 12 gas from Rush, got that 2-minute 29 factory on curve. See a very fast range upgrade coming out from Paralyze. Back in the day, you used to see a lot of Protoss players faking this range and just making a weapons upgrade for their air attack and then canceling it and going into something like a Dark Templar play. But we don't see a lot of those kind of mind games, at least at this stage in the game, early on from the Protoss pros anymore. It's just going to be a very crisply timed 21 Nexus, since he did negate going for a 14 Zealot.
Rush gonna throw down his CC. Let's see if he doesn't build a bunker here. A lot of Terran players, when they're not pressured by that Zealot, haven't lost any Marines so far, are just gonna try to negate that, or try to skip over that bunker by standing here on the high ground. He will get this Vulture out, and he's done a good job of bullying away the Dragoon to start here. So, I mean, this is very good for Rush. He's able to forego that bunker and just get that little bit of a faster CC out. Might even be able to throw down a second factory before going ahead and adding on that defensive building.
This is what makes StarCraft so interesting in general, saying is all these like little mini games within games that these guys are playing. There's like a skirmish here in the natural with these 3 Marines holding off this Dragoon to avoid having to throw down a bunker. There's the Vulture pressuring the natural to make sure that Paralyze has to keep the second Dragoon back at home and not be too aggressive, so he can't punish the lack of bunker. Just all these little things add up to such a great game in general, and really show why these guys are the best gamers on the planet. They've got everything mapped out to a T. You throw any kind of other gamer in here that hasn't played StarCraft for years on end, they're going to struggle to keep up with these guys.
Oh, for sure. Even StarCraft 2 players have a hard time switching over, although we have seen more and more of those StarCraft 2 players making their way into Brood War, because it is just such an excellent game and has so much support internationally, but of course in Korea primarily. Great block here, not allowing that mine to get killed. Oh my goodness, Paralyze not targeting on the mine there.
Yeah.
Managing to get that mine in place, that's actually kind of a big deal. He's not going to be able to push that back here for now, and Rush is getting a full surround on the front part of Paralyze's base. Nothing's really gone that well for Paralyze so far. He's not in a lot of trouble here, but Rush is definitely controlling him well.
But will this Vulture snipe this probe? He's looking for it. He's going to dive in now. He knows this is the good timing to throw down. Oh, he's going to body block the Dragoon as well. I don't think he's got any mines to kill it, but he doesn't matter. The fragmentation grenade's more than enough. Will sacrifice a couple of Vultures to do so, picking up a Dragoon kill and delaying that expansion by at least 30-40 seconds or so. That's a big win. And Paralyze, he's gone for one of the most safest openings you can do in this matchup. It's 3-gate Goon Observer. This is like the cookie cutter. I'm not going to die against anything way of playing, but it has slowed down his expansion. And Rush, I don't think, is looking to put on any real timing attacks anytime soon. So yeah, Paralyze might be slipping behind the curve of this game.
Yeah, it's already happening here. Rush has gotten away with some greed early game, and he's killed probes. Oh, not going to be able to delay this Nexus any further, but gets another probe there. That's excellent play from Rush to make sure that he can try to delay this as much as possible, get those little tiny bits of damage wherever he can, and just keep this guy on the back foot. The non-stop aggression, forcing those interactions. That's how the stronger players get those big advantages moving into the later stages of the game.
Absolutely. You'll always see the better player being aggressive and just forcing too much task switching out of the other guy to keep up with. And he's got everything mapped out in terms of behavior tree that the other guy will probably make some kind of mistake down the line, and that will be punished once he's gone through the motions. Finally had that third factory coming down, but it's not so early to indicate pressure. He went for an eBay armory. And one thing I'd like to point out is, like, there's 3 main tech buildings that the Terran can get in this early game phase. It's the armory, the academy, and the engineering bay. You can't get all 3 usually. You're only getting 2 out of those 3, and it's a matter of which order you are getting them in. So if you're going for like an eBay armory setup, usually indicates you want to be a bit more defensive and, you know, build up to an upgrade timing, like something like a 2-1 timing. Whereas if you get something like an academy, you obviously have those scans early on, so you can be a bit more aggressive, shut down the probe scouting of the Protoss and obfuscate your move out timings and have protection against possible DTs ruining your day. So it seems like Rush wants to play a little bit more of a defensive game for the time being.
He's going to be slowly moving out, utilizing a bit of that buildable terrain, most likely. This map was changed before the ASL 20 to include a little bit more buildable terrain in front of your natural out on that pizza slice. You can build a couple of extra turrets out there to make it slightly easier to push forward here and try to secure a third base. We'll see if Rush wants to get that off of just, 3-4 factories, or does he want to go all the way up to 5, be really safe? And yeah, he's got already 4 factories here. May want to add that 5th before taking this base, just to make sure he doesn't get broken here.
Yeah, he seems to be doing very mid-range style right now. Like, it's not 5 factory, but it's also not just traditional tech mech going all the way into +3 weapons. He's kind of covering all of his bases. He's aware that there probably will be some kind of aggression or pressure out of Paralyze, and he's instead gonna focus on his eco now. So we got a 3rd command center on the way, starting at 9 minutes. That's very quick. And he's scanning now the main base, identifying the tech path of Paralyze, sees that robotic support base, so he knows it's Reavers. He's got a few Goliaths now popping out. He wants to get a total of 4 of those with Karen boosted range upgrade so that he can 2-shot those shuttles down and also kill those observers really quickly as well. So yeah, I think, well, yeah, there comes the 5th factory. So Rush is kind of doing the 5 factory play, but he's gone about it in a bit of an unorthodox way. He's gone into 4 factory first, got that CC on the way to focus more on his economy, and now he's throwing down the 5th factory as more of an afterthought.
Ooh, 6th factory coming up here as well. Maybe wanting to go for 3 base into 7 factory, try to get a push going immediately after saturating that base. We'll see if he's able to push out here smoothly, or if Paralyze getting any damage done with this initial Reaver. One Goliath is something that removes the ability to two-shot that shuttle once the Karen booster upgrade comes online. So either he makes another Goliath here, or he's just going to have to give up on shooting that down immediately and just running in on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, 4 Goliaths is the magic number for those Hellfire missiles to 2-shot down that shuttle. I mean, you can still 3-shot it and what have you, but I mean, this is actually really good for Rush. He's put a lot of damage onto that shuttle already. He might feel like this is a trigger to not only expand towards this gas expansion, but push horizontally right now and put a little bit of pressure onto Paralyze. Isn't necessary to kill Paralyze, this is just to like force a bad engagement out of the Protoss player, maybe lean on him a little bit, make it him more hesitant to take this mineral only. He will still throw down that Nexus at that mineral only location, but if he can force a frontal engagement with Paralyze right now, that might have been great for Rush. He realizes that Paralyze might be set up a little bit too strongly for him to handle at the moment, so he's going to sneak back to the safety of his rally point. Paralyze rotating down now to that third base, recently established. Reavers popping out on top of those siege tanks, looking for good scout connections, not really finding the target fire that he needs to wipe out these tanks. Good target fire from Rush though, eliminating one of those artillery units in the backline. Only one Reaver now remaining. This is not the best engagement for Paralyze, but he is starting to chip away at those siege tanks with some base disruption shots. Rush getting the better end of the stick. That had some siege tanks sieging up on the outside of the periphery. They will kill a lot of these Dragoons in retreat.
Yeah, the retreating Dragoons here are going to take quite a bit of shelling damage, but a few tanks were killed off here, and Zealot's speed is going to be finishing up, and he can make a continuation attack and kill off some more tanks here. I don't think he can just kill the base yet, but maybe with a few good trades, you know, a couple drops on top of some of these tanks, maybe get a kill here or there. Maybe Paralyze can get something done. He is falling back onto a 4th base, though. However, it is a base that is towards Rush. Yeah. It'll be very tempting for him to push directly across these pizza slices and try to go for that 4th base sooner rather than later.
I mean, Paralyze is asking a few questions of Rush in this game, but it seems like Rush has got all the answers. He's not being caught off guard, and yeah, the cannon coming down to wipe out the mine, blocking that Nexus spot in the top left, and trying to take another base and start to expand vertically as quickly as possible. If he can get a rally point in this top left pocket in that other main base, that'll be great. Good shutdown from Paralyze, actually, body blocking these vultures from coming in here, killing any of those high Templars at the rally points. I mean, there's some things to write home about here for Paralyze, but he is slightly slipping behind the curve of this game. He needs to start expanding rapidly and outproducing Rush as soon as possible, or Rush is going to absolutely steamroll him soon.
Looks like a single shuttle probing the perimeter of this base. Dropping a single Reaver here, and could end up taking out some turrets at the very least. Rush just unsieges and moves directly forward. No fear in this, man. He feels like the position is good enough, but is this a big mistake? He's going to push right up onto this high ground and start to mount the high ground above the 4th base. Now, it can be very rough to try and take this high ground position, because the storms here are going to be absolutely brutal. It's still just 1-1 for Rush. He kind of skipped over the starport tech here, and so he's relying on kind of a mass of units at 176 supply, 180 supply now at 14 minutes. That's something you can only be capable of doing by just sticking on those low upgrades. Great storms here on the bottom side. A lot of these unsieged tanks take massive damage. Now sieging up. The Zealots are right here on top of them, and they are so low. Any bit of splash is going to absolutely crush them, and you can see about 3 or 4 additional tanks end up going down at the end of that fight. Some great storm usage by Paralyze.
Yeah, unfortunately wasn't able to get one final storm off from that Templar on the low ground. He just had ticked by 75 energy, wasn't able to identify that. Yeah, some pretty good engagements from Paralyze, but Rush still maintaining this forward position, can start to put a bit of pressure onto the Protoss player now and lean on him and put this mineral-only expansion under threat. Even some SCVs coming out to start repairing up those really low HP tanks. A massive probe transfer coming underway to that base in the top left. But Rush surges forward with some Vulture bikes, takes out the High Templar. Those are critical units at this junction in the game. He's got enough Vultures to screen against the Zealot threat and body block and wipe out these Zealots before they can do their job and help kill those siege tanks in the back line. Maybe Rush will be smelling blood in the water now and pushing to this next pizza slice, which is right above the mineral-only expansion. Paralyze could be in a lot of trouble soon.
Well, Paralyze, I mean, he hasn't really opened up the middle of the map or tried to go around this army at all, try to threaten a counterattack or anything. If he just wants to butt heads with Rush here, I think he's going to find that Rush is completely happy with that. The shuttle goes down right at the beginning of this attack, and Zealots are filing in. Oh, this is going really bad for Paralyze now. Rush definitely getting the upper hand in this fight.
Yeah, with this style of composition from Rush, it's just too much meat on the bone for Paralyze to chew through. I mean, he's pretty much lost all of his ground infantry now. Rush will go for some killing blow maneuvers. He's going to wipe out this mineral only and then start to lean on the rally point and lock out Paralyze from coming out onto the map just as Paralyze is starting to set up these bases in the northern hemisphere in that top left pocket. It's not going to be quick enough. By the time he's got another rally point set up there, he's going to be at death's door already. Rush knows it as well. He's forcing more and more frontal engagements from Paralyze, and these are unfavorable trades to say the least. There's even that transition science facility on the way back at home to get those valuable +2 and beyond weapon upgrades. Paralyze, in a lot of desperation, has some speed shuttles that will be looking to find some damage to the economy of Rush at this third base, but it's probably not going to be enough.
I mean, this would have been a good play when the push was happening, when the push was starting here, and you still had that big army. Try to get a distraction going on for the Terran player and then try to hit this head on while he's busy elsewhere. But, okay, there's a pretty good storm. Oh my goodness, a very good storm there from Paralyze, but he's losing gateways in the main base now. This is a problem. That I don't think anything less than a 200-200 army with a ton of storms is going to be able to deal with here. It's just such a scary force that Rush has brought to his front doorstep.
Yeah, he's lost a couple of gateways already. That's a few less infantry that he can produce each minute. He's desperate to find something. Still with some storm drops at that natural third base. Not killing nearly enough SCVs, though. Rush now eclipsing Paralyze in supply, blocking out the light at the end of the tunnel for him, and he's in a world of hurt. The rally point is starting to get closed on by Rush. The noose is tightening around the neck of this Protoss player, and he's all but dead in this game. He might have one last hurrah trying to dislodge this Terran formation, but he's losing Templars for free. There's science vessels now in the sky, so D-Matrix will come online soon and make the trades even more worthwhile for Rush. He can keep killing and shelling the gateways in the main base, cutting off the production of the Protoss player and taking out any hope of a comeback.
Yeah, this was textbook play from Rush. A very modern style of Terran, not really relying on heavy upgrades early. More so, just lots and lots of units here to push the Protoss player back and really threaten a massive attack there. And we're pretty much dead on with the assumption he was going to be going into his 7-8 factories on 3 base and just shoving it down. Great storms here at the end of this fight, but I mean, what are we actually fighting for here? Paralyze is just kind of hanging on to no real economy behind this, and throwing up a few gateways in the top left, that's not going to save him here as his main base gets absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, he's injecting money into a failing restaurant, and no one appreciates the menu that he's cooked up here today, unfortunately. He's in a lot of trouble. He's running out of customers. There's some good Reaver Scarab connections here at the natural third, but a bit of magic is not going to save him here today. Does kill some of these siege tanks. I mean, these are some good moves from Paralyze. We saw a little bit of high-level play from him. Just Rush is too good, man. He's definitely outshining him in ability overall. I feel kind of a little bit bad for Paralyze. We did expect it to go this way, but I mean, Rush is really pulling him apart limb from limb.
Again, guys, if those moves, the Storm drops and Reaver drops at that third had come, before the big engage where Paralyze lost his entire army, there's a very good chance that Paralyze could end up taking this game, just killing off so many workers and a bunch of tanks to that base, but he's losing his main right now, and he's just lost the center left. Now, Rush is free to just start spreading out absolutely everywhere, hitting all these bases. I think we've seen a lot of what Paralyze is capable of, but just a big mistake there in taking that engagement before he was ready. Felt like he had to keep diving in head first to that army rather than doing the standard Protoss tactic, kind of going around, looking for other ways to engage rather than head on.
I mean, I'm just super impressed by how Rush knows how to slam the win more button. Like, he's taking 6 o'clock, he's rotating around just enough army to start putting pressure onto these bases up here in the top left to shut down any hopes from Paralyze. And he's got a lot of formidable sentries at this rally point location in the bottom left, so that Paralyze also can't break out there. Like, this is textbook Terran. Like, he's bringing just enough units to the bear to wipe out any hopes from Paralyze as he's expanding. This is like StarCraft 101. You keep growing yourself while you apply pressure to your opponent, and this is an exemplary, seriously an exemplary performance from Rush today.
Yeah, Rush is taking multiple bases now, going to be grabbing that mineral only here as he spreads out and hits all these Nexus. Oh, this Nexus is going to go down. Oh, wait, not target firing. Oh, the Zealots die.
Ooh.
The Zealots go down.
Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty darn good. And GG is called. Paralyze taps out, and Rush not even going to react here. Just another day at the office as he moves on to the winner's match.
I think he slightly adjusted his keyboard by a few millimeters there to optimize for his future games, maybe. No, this guy is just not even thinking about that, what happened in that game too much right now. I think that was like a textbook game for him. I think he's got that all mapped out in his brain already. He probably doesn't even need to necessarily look at the replay. A lot of these guys in this situation would be going over the replay. I'm sure he probably is actually going over that replay. I mean, it's very common in a tournament setting that as soon as the game finishes, you jump into that replay, start to analyze all the things that could have gone better for you, what went wrong, how you can improve in the future. These aren't best of 7 series or best of 5 series, so that would be even more an important factor, but it is good to go over your gameplay whenever possible, even if you're just grinding on the ladder, and assess your shortcomings and really start to iron out the creases in your play overall. And that's one of the reasons these guys are so good at what they do, is they're able to go in, dissect the problems, and plug the holes.
Yeah, not a lot of holes being shown there by Rush, but that third base, I mean, definitely could have been defended a tiny bit better, right? The damage there was severe. Again, if the position was a bit better and Paralyze had managed those drops, things could have gotten crazy in that game. You would have lost a lot of SCVs and had a very hard time. Guys, we're going to be jumping into our second match here. Jaedong versus Mong, coming up right after this commercial break. And just like that, we're back already. Taking it a little bit light on the sponsorships today because we're gonna have some longer games. Definitely made up for the time in that ZVZ series we had. All Zerg group seemed like it was mostly advertisements, but here I think they're gonna be going a little bit lighter on those. Just a couple of minutes, and we're right back into the action.
Yeah, we have 2 Terrans in the group, so who knows? We could be seeing some super long TVTs as well. Definitely a possibility here. We've already got 1 gamer rush going through to the winners match, and also Paralyze dropping down to that losers. But who will face off against them? We've got Jaedong and Mong next up to bat, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting match. I mean, they've had a bit of a back and forth in historical games, but Jaedong in way better shape, I would say, and this is Mong's worst matchup. And while he did beat Queen in that qualifier stage, I mean, Queen's not really been impressing me with his play as of late, so I don't want to think too highly of Mong just right yet.
Yeah, he's gonna have to show up here, bring something special today. Again, best of 1. Might be able to get 1 over Jaedong, but you know that Jaedong has been practicing. He's definitely seen some of those replays. If he's, doing his due diligence, he would have contacted Queen, get some of those replays from him, find out exactly what Mong's been up to and what he's been practicing lately, because he would have pulled out his best versus Queen, I'm sure, in the qualifiers.
Right. Yeah, he needs every help that he can get in that matchup in general. And to break into the ASL, you don't want to pull your punches. You should be pretty much playing your heart out. And here we can see this guy's had a rough time of it. He's such a macro beast in that versus Protoss matchup. But you can see his versus Terran Mirror hurting a little bit. And that versus Zerg really hurting. Just 22% in the ASL. Now, in online games, these actually pretty good. Like, historically speaking, Mong has a pretty solid record overall. He's had problems with Terran versus Terran in the past, and that's still reflected in his style here today. But now versus Zerg has become his Achilles heel that he's had to really work on. Has he done enough to cover that weakness and plug the holes in his play? He's going to need to against the likes of the tyrant Zerg Jaedong here today.
Mong always cracks me up. What is that face he's making at the screen when he's getting prepared here? I mean, I honestly love this guy as a character. Just like I love Alarva and Shuttle and all these guys who have big personalities. They really bring a lot to the scene. But I expect Jaedong, with his laser focus, he is just complete stone face killer here today. I think he's going to be getting through.
Man, I'm seeing a Lee Cathos shirt signed by Jaedong. That's from 2019. That particular shirt is, I think. Oh no, sorry, 2022. My bad. Yeah, I mean that'd be cool to have. I had a friend from back in the day from Sweden who had a signed shirt from Jaedong. I was super envious of him. If you guys can get a signed memorabilia from these guys, that's really impressive, and props to you. But we're going to be jumping right into the show now. It's ASL Season 20, Group E Match 2. It's Jaedong versus Mong, and the map is going to be Dominator. Let's get the show on, guys.
Jaedong spawning in the bottom left. Mong center right here on Dominator. The spawn is the best it could possibly be here on Dominator for Mong. He's got a bit of luck on his side today. We'll see if that prompts him to go for Marine Medic, or does he want to do a 1-1-1 and just kind of, stick to what we expect from him. I've never been a huge fan of his bioplay. I think that's the reason why he has had such a bad record in ASL. Is his bio has just never been that good.
definitely. No, I couldn't say it better myself, saying that is the problem. He's never been good at controlling those bio units. His macro is otherworldly, so if he can somehow survive that early game to mid-game transitional phase, he's just fine. He dominates in Terran versus Protoss as a result of it. He has some of the best macro in that matchup than any of these guys, so it's a shame that he's really struggled in this particular matchup and not been able to really kind of showcase his talents, but he is well respected in the scene. He is a very good gamer. He's just had a lot of trouble in this matchup in particular, and this is the best configuration of starting positions he could have hoped for. Not only is he spawning in this right-hand side, avoiding any kind of issues in defending against Mutalisks, but also Jaedong doesn't have a direct path of attack into his main base, kind of has to go around a little bit here. So, I mean, this is pretty favorable for Mong. If he's in the bottom left, there's this dead zone behind the main minerals that Jaedong can camp out and harass a lot. And if it's top left, obviously that gas way off to the side of the main base minerals, so hard to cover all those areas, all those zones of contention with turret placement. So this is the best configuration possible for Mong, and he's going to need every help that he can get against Jaedong.
Yeah, it's Jaedong's world, and we just live in it. That's how we felt in the last couple of KCM's weeks. Xun, week 2 and week 3 this season have been absolutely dominated by Jaedong, getting a ton of kills, getting an all kill. I think it was against Terran twice in a row, going on some insane win streak as well. He's just been bringing the absolute pressure to these Terran players, and they have been cracking left and right. Players that you would never expect to crack under pressure are being boiled alive by Jaedong and his intense style of play here in ZVT lately.
Yeah, Lee Jaedong, his name, and literally using that as his ID, so his middle and last names. And I love that Dong rhymes with Mong, by the way. I think that's a little bit poetic. Getting some Hawk Tour moving shots with the spines onto that SCV. Mong doing a pretty good job of keeping that alive, though. Jaedong has elected to expand quickly here, following that up with a crisply timed lair, trying to stay ahead of the curve, technology speaking. Will we see some tech-out play from Mong? Will he try and just play a straight-up bio game here? That wouldn't necessarily be playing into his strengths, but if he can survive that early harassment phase against Jaedong and take this fact that he's got this 3 o'clock position to the bank and see if he can get some dividends paying his way before long. I mean, maybe he can do a straight-up game, but it is going to be that fast factory play indicating a 1-1-1 tech-tout style. And the problem with that is this kind of plays into Jaedong's hands. He loves to play against technical Terrans.
Yeah, even if Jaedong likes to play against this, I still prefer Mong to do something like a 1-1-1. He's just not the best at M&M, and no hate to him at all. I think that like his real strength is transitioning into mech and just playing mech. There's a reason why he's got such a good win rate versus Protoss, guys. He is insanely good with mech units, and whatever way he decides to get there, I think it's the right choice. Just find a way to get into mech and try to beat Jaedong down with that mech style. It's strong right now. Terrans have been making it work against Zerg players, and I think Mong, that is his best bet at taking down Jaedong here.
Absolutely. You're not wrong. Jaedong, though, will have a bit of a stylistic advantage. For the time being, going forward, we'll be probably seeing fast Valkyrie play out of Mong. Can he get this going and transition all the way to his desired endgame? Now, the first 2 Valkyries are like gold dust for the Terran. If the Scourge come in or the Mutas come in and snipe those, it's really tough for the Terran to stay on curve throughout the rest of the game. The thing with 1-1-1 is it's so light on units. It's a very flimsy way of playing Terran, and you can kind of make up for that with the wall in here and make sure your turret timings are on curve, and you can get a very quick Valkyrie out to defend against the Mutalisk timing of the Zerg. But if you do somehow get that Valkyrie sniped by the Scourge or what have you, can be a nightmare for the Terran to even come back in the game from that point onwards.
All right, so we're going to see Mong move out with about 3 vultures here. Speed is going to be finishing up, and he's going to try and delay Jaedong by, you know, sending these vultures in, trying to create a distraction here. Jaedong just going straight into the main base. Can he get any damage done here? Needs to buy a bit of time. Running straight on past. There are some lings here. Only 2 shots from that sunken colony. 1 kill. 2 kills go down. Not bad for Mong. And you know what? This is pretty decent for him. He's managed to get the Valkyrie out. He's got some turrets here. He just has to keep this alive. Do not engage with these mutas with 2 Scourge underneath, or he could be in a lot of trouble. He's trying to go for that slide micro. It's dangerous, though. You cannot be losing this first Valkyrie.
Yeah, there's a lot of intensity in the gameplay of Mong right now. Great target firing onto those drones as well. That's why he was able to kill 1 drone with just 2 fragmentation grenades. They need to synchronize and hit exactly at the same time when the regen comes in. And his screen is shaking every few seconds from just how intense his hands are moving on that mouse and keyboard. He's really playing his heart out against Jaedong. He knows he needs to as well, sending another couple of vultures out onto the map. Wants to slow down the additional bases coming out from Jaedong. But Jaedong was able to get this 3rd base all the way in the top left natural, so he can secure that and have essentially a free 4th base as well. So 4 gas will always be in the bag for him to take at a moment's notice in the later phases of this game. This has been pretty good so far for Mong in this opening. He hasn't lost any of those Valkyries. He now knows about this base in the top left as well. Jaedong will be transitioning into a pretty stylistically normal game, getting the Hydra Den and the Hive on the way. Oh, he's going into bio. He actually is going to be doing a more traditional style of play, and he might be looking to do some kind of like 10-minute timing attack with those Valkyries acting as point defense for his bio. And as you said earlier, he's not really a bio guy.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's got the Valkyries for point defense, it's pretty difficult to abuse that with mutas. That's really the hard part of moving the Marines. Once you get to the natural and you just hit the stim button, it's not that difficult. But see, earlier when Mong was not attacking with the Valkyrie, I think that was the right choice. Even though he lost quite a few SCVs, he's managed to get to that critical mass. And had he gone for an attack with the Valkyrie, you know that Jaedong would have sniped that. He would have gone in with the Scourge, and then we wouldn't have this timing for Mong to push out. He's, of course, lost some momentum, not having as many SCVs to work with, but he's got so much anti-air. These mutas are going to be absolutely useless, and the Marines will be able to get across the map here. Now, will Jaedong have enough lurkers in time to stop a push hitting either of these bases? It remains to be seen, because lurker upgrade just now finished.
Yeah, lurkers are obviously the natural counter to these Valkyries. They don't shoot down or provide detection for the Terran player. Dives in on top of those mid-lists. 1 connection with Scourge takes out a single Valkyrie, I think. Or actually, no, only one of the Scourge connected, so it didn't actually kill the Valkyrie. A lot of trouble now here for Jaedong. Maybe he can hit this timing. If he pops in to this expansion at the 12 o'clock position, just as the eggs are hatching, Mong might find a timing. Oh, the lurkers hatch just in the nick of time before Mong could pull the trigger on that. And now won't be able to break that position. He's going to harass a little bit with these Valkyries. He's showing some pretty good usage of that patrol slide micro to make the Valkyries essentially move away with inertia while shooting backwards to mitigate potential damage while also dealing out the highest amount of damage, which is essentially what micro is, dealing as much damage while taking as little damage as possible. Jaedong did get that +1 flyer carapace on his air unit, so they have a little bit of tank against those Valkyrie missiles. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, this could go either way. I think Mong's in an okay position, but he's been unsuccessful in shutting down Jaedong's expansion here in the top left. Valkyries connecting with some of those... Oh, sorry, Scourge connect with the Valkyries. Only takes out 1, though. Maybe Mong can still make this work.
Yeah, he's got a drop out, and he is going to be switching into Mac. It's kind of a funny thing here, Mong. Flirting with the idea of going into bio, but you can see these bio units really haven't done too much. A drop is going to come in now. He's going to unload, and there's not really much that Jaedong can do about that. He does see it coming in. Could end up going for it. Good job here with the slide micro, getting out all of those shots there and getting rid of the Scourge, but the dropship gets picked off. Now the Marines are kind of stranded here. Valkyrie's going to go down. He will get behind the mineral patches, at least cause a little bit of a disturbance here for Jaedong. while he's making this transition, but he doesn't have any sort of a lockdown on Jaedong's main, or his natural, excuse me, or his third base. So usually what you're going to want to do before lifting off these barracks like he's doing now is, you know, get a little bit of bio out in front of each of these spots so that you can stop the Zerg player from just walking across the map and killing you with Dark Swarm. I think he's going to have to rely on mines here instead, just putting mines in front of both these bases to make sure that he doesn't just straight up die to this.
Yeah, he's lost the last Valkyrie now. I mean, Jaedong taking the 4th gas pocket base. Not really much Mong can do about that for the time being. He is doing this massive mech transition. This isn't the worst case scenario for our Terran player, though. I did like the game plan of doing this little elevator into the main base while transitioning into mech and an additional base while throwing down more and more factories. I mean, he is going to cancel this CC a little bit here and slow that down from being built. Jaedong doing a little bit with these Mutalisks to try and chip away at the macro powerhouse of the Terran's capabilities. Mong could really outscale him in this game if he is undeterred in building those factories and command centers. So this is a nice little play from Jaedong, trying to throw a little bit of a wrench in the cogworks of that Terran player. And this could be a very spicy, interesting game now that all these factories are online.
Yeah, the double expansion seems like it is going to come up here for Mong, and he has mines in front of each of these bases. Of course, just getting that Overlord speed online here should allow Jaedong, now that there's no Valkyries, to just clear out the mines pretty much for free with the mutas in the air. He's managed to get his 4th base up already as well, and yeah, we are going to see an interesting game here for sure, Xun. I'm just curious as to how Jaedong's going to decide to play against this. Is he going to go Hydralisk with Queens, or will his tech choice be a little bit more risky and go for some Ultras here? Just try to get big and keep the game scrappy.
Yeah, I mean, he has a lot of options available to him. With the 4 gas, he can pretty much do anything that he wants. I don't think the Ultralisks will be super wise of him. I think if he was already invested in them, staying with the tech makes sense. But if he hasn't yet committed to that, I think that it's better for him to go into a more Ling-heavy Hydra style. He has got a lot of Mutalisks now. He killed those Valkyries, so now he's gone a little bit heavier into the investment of more air units. Takes out one of these tanks, harassing some of these SCVs as well, just trying to be as annoying as possible to Mong. I mean, one of the biggest downfalls of mech is that it lacks mobility. Can he kill this science facility before the irradiator's done? He's going to have to lift that and float it to safety. He knows he won't get that research in time. Can he even repair it in time? I don't think so.
Ooh, the kill in the science facility could be massive if he didn't start something like +2 yet on these mech units. I'm not sure exactly how far along he is on those upgrades, but that could become pretty impactful here. Mong will have to remake that building as well, and he's not got a lot of gas income going here. Again, sitting on 4 bases, but it's a mineral only. And so you're not going to have quite as much income there. You're going to be stretched thin. There's the Queen transition. This is what I like to see. Jaedong going into Queen and Hydra for his counter to that mech play. Mong moving forward brazenly here out into the middle of the map. Kind of shocking to see him move this far forward right now on such few units. It could be shut down extremely quick, and a plague over the wall is a pretty sick move to try and shut that down.
Yeah, I do like this play from Mong, though. Like, he can attack and defend simultaneously, taking this 6 o'clock base while pushing on this horizontal axis. Jaedong minesweeping with a few straggler Zerglings. It does take a long time for the energy to be banked up on those Queens, 2 minutes from their inception. So it'd be a long time coming until those broodlings become a factor, but once they do, it'll be a massive tempo swing for Jaedong, killing so many tanks for free, potentially. Mong has got a sizable force that has been mustered here, but will he be able to get the value out of it necessary? Time is against him. Jaedong will eventually have so many broodlings to wipe out these key tank positions. He's going to screen as well with some forces on the ground, dragging mines into vultures, just keeping Mong at bay from leaning on his rally points too much, allowing him to also get this 9 o'clock base up undeterred, and we'll try and keep up with the macro curve of the Terran in this game.
Wow, Jaedong opened with drops here, and Mong saw it. He completely shut it down. He's got a bunch of turrets building in the main base, and he killed the drops that were trying to get on top of these tanks here over his high ground. Oh, this Irradiate is going to do so much damage. One tank goes down, but this is that was actually a plagued vessel, so he gets the kill on the plagued vessel. Not bad for Jaedong there, but still holding that high ground. Mong, can he push over? Oh my gosh, ultras too? Wait, Jaedong,
yeah.
I know you said he could do anything, but can he really afford a massive round of queens and ultras and defilers?
Well, I told you, with that 4 gas, yeah, he pretty much can. I mean, that's 1,200 gas a minute, saying. Obviously, you have to choose what order you make things in. So he makes the queens first, gets them banking energy, waits a minute or so. Then he can make 5 or so ultralists. You know, it's not a big deal. When you got 4 gases to work with, yes, you can. And now he's going to have potentially a 5th gas. Will be set up soon. Jaedong doing a good job of pushing Mong back away from this pizza slice, killing a few tanks off here and there. There are still quite a lot of vultures for Mong to try and maybe, you know, cause some threats, snipe some defilers and what have you, but not nearly enough in the way of things like, you know, science vessels putting out irradiates onto those critical utility units. And now we can start to launch attacks on these other bases on the other side of the map with some of these ultralists, causing a bit of a distraction, which will open up more and more positions, lines of attack for Jaedong to start exploiting. He will cause a lot of chaos for the Terran to keep up with. Now, good snipe on the defiler though with those vultures. Queens brought to bear, ready to do a massive assault with a big round of broodlings.
Is there anything in these overlords as well to try and drop here? It doesn't kind of look like it, but here comes the broodlings, landing quite a few broodlings on these backline of tanks. Ultras hitting from multiple angles as well. Oh my goodness, so much damage from these broodlings. Gonna unsiege a lot of this stuff and move forward. Mong dropping down to just 150 supply though. Jaedong stays very close to that max out. Looks like that command center staying on pretty high HP, so it doesn't look like he's gonna get the infest. But Mong hangs on for now. Now, I'm actually not a big fan of Jaedong going ultra here, because Mong is very, very good with his mech play. He's going to be setting out mines all over the place, and that's where you can get really cost efficient as the Zerg. Right. Now, breaking up these 2 tanks over here is pretty good, and he's keeping it scrappy. So maybe he just breaks through right now, but if Mong gets his feet under him, it's going to become pretty scary. 5 base Terran is no joke.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But Jaedong is keeping it scrappy, and he is killing off all of these tanks that are so spread out right now. And that big wave of broodlings reduced the overall count so significantly that all the tanks that were left in remnants of the force of Mong have been eliminated at this 6 o'clock base, as well as the mineral only. Jaedong keeping it extremely scrappy, like you were talking about, and he's making it work. Mong just on 130 supply. Jaedong nearly maxed out right now. He's macroing on all cylinders. 5 gases are churning. That's 1,500 gas a minute. This Zerg is able to put out 7.5 ultras a minute in production, as well as Zerglings just streaming across the map, trying to hammer in more nails into the coffin. And it's only going to be another few minutes until those queens have another round of broodlings to launch.
Wow, I mean, this is a masterclass from Jaedong, pulling out the perfect timing on those queens, hitting with the broodling, just smashing through the back line of tanks, and then overwhelming with ultras. You can see a few tanks here and there just barely trying to hold the line, but then comes the extra queens with a couple of extra broodlings to just break that last little bastion. Everything has been rallied forward now, and Jaedong's going for the kill.
Yeah, I mean, really big masterclass here from Jaedong on pulling apart a mech Terran. There's not a lot of hope for Mong. He tilted his head a moment ago. Here comes the GG. Jaedong through to the winners match. No surprise there. This guy always looks like such a killer in the booth with that laser focus, but he is probably one of the nicest guys in the pro gamer scene. Don't let his looks fool you. He's an absolute sweetheart of a guy at heart, but an absolute monster when it comes to taking out pro gamers in these high-level tournaments. Mong, his first victim of the day.
Damn, Jaedong. I mean, that was something else, man. The rallies coming from every direction, just pure macro after that very well set up finesse move there with the drop play and the queens coming in all at the same time. I've never quite seen a bust on mech like that, Xun. That was one for the history books. Jaedong able to pull out some incredible control and decisiveness, landing those kills and then just completely overwhelming the position. I mean, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that game again just to really fully understand how that came to pass. Mong was nearly maxed at the beginning of that attack, and he just dropped like a stone through the floor. Not sure if he had that +2 upgrade finish or not. That science
He did.
Oh, did. Okay, he did have that +2. I mean, that's crazy. Crazy he's able to just smash through like that.
Oh no, it was really otherworldly stuff from Jaedong. He made it look easy. I can assure you, playing like that against that particular Terran style is anything but easy. It's super tough to play against mech style Terran. Pretty much every pro gamer Zerg knows how to do it, but in terms of actually executing it, they fail a lot when it comes time to actually doing so. Jaedong, though, simplifying the equations for us here, a real Einstein in this Zerg scene and looking on fire. Like, he's really in form right now. I don't necessarily think he's going to win the entire ASL event, but he's certainly a potential deep contender here going forward. Will he hang on to his current streak against the likes of Rush in that winners match, though? This is going to be a much more broader range of challenge for him to overcome. I mean, Rush is not one of these niche players that has to play a certain type of way in this matchup, like Mong, very limited and rigid in his styles of choice, whereas Rush can pretty much do anything. And a very talented, very solid mechanical player. Jaedong will be debuting his real showcase of skills coming up soon.
Yeah, you can't really put Rush in a box. This guy is capable of every different style of play, and he's capable of going into those kind of chaotic waters that Jaedong likes to drag players down into, make them, respond to these wild situations where you're not really sure what you're supposed to be doing and kind of the position that you're in. Rush thrives in those type of chaotic situations as well. So I'm really curious to see how he's going to be handling Jaedong, and also which map are we going to get here, Xun? Will Jaedong? I mean, I can't imagine Rush will do anything but ban, one of either Screaming Sea or that other map, the other crazy map. Why am I blanking on it, Xun? What is the other map there? The one with the two gases?
Litmus.
Litmus. I'm sure he'll ban one of those two. But Jaedong, maybe he lets one of them slip through and, bans Knockout and then goes in with kind of a crazy strategy. We'll see.
Yeah, man, it's going to be crazy. Like, I'm really stoked for this game in particular. This is what we wanted to see for the day. This match is going to be something special. And I mean, we also have that Mong versus Paralyze game coming up. I think Mong is going to showcase to you guys why he's considered so potent in that matchup in particular. Paralyze will be in a little bit of trouble, but he is a Paralyze versus Terran specialist. So that also could be a really spectacularly interesting game to boot. So I think we've got two great games coming up. But first up to the plate, it's going to be that winners match between Jaedong and Rush.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no way I can make a prediction about what's going to happen between Jaedong and Rush there. But when it comes to Paralyze and Mong, what are you thinking, Xun? I'm pretty confident that Mong can put out a good game there. I'm not sure if Paralyze can do the same.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Paralyze did do pretty good in his qualifiers, and he has been, showcasing more solid play in general. But he is still one of these sort of like guys that are having a hard time getting on top of the pile of cards here. He's usually at the bottom of the deck, hasn't really had much hope in shining in the scene. And that's the kind of the crazy thing about this scene, this game in general, is like there's so many good players. There's hundreds of great players on the planet, but most of them can't even hold a candle to the top guys here. It's like the ultimate zero game of zero games. Like no one is as good at anything as these guys are at StarCraft.
And Mong, I mean, he really shines in TVP. Like this is the reason why he's still relevant truly in Brood War is he just smashes Protoss players over and over again. Yes, he got through against Zerg this season, but historically, that's been his matchup. Protoss has been his prey, and Paralyze might fall victim here today.
Yeah, he's like the exception to the rule. Like more often than not, it's the other way around where the Terrans are having a pretty good time against that Zerg matchup and struggling against that race homeworld Aya. They're just too strong for Terrans, typically speaking. Well, Mong is like one of the only guys that breaks that mold and actually smashes face when it comes to dealing with that particular alien race. In terms of the Zerg matchup, though, he's not fond of those particular xenomorphs, unfortunately. So I don't know about what's going to happen, Saiyan, but run to the bathroom, grab some popcorn, get some fruit and water, whatever you desire to help enjoy the rest of the series. We've got the winners match. This is Group E. It's going to be Jaedong versus Rush. Don't go anywhere.
All right, guys, the match we have been waiting for. Jaedong versus Rush is about to begin. Best of 1 for their slot in the round of 16. Loser has to go up against either Mong or Paralyze in that final match. That's not a place you want to be. So these guys are going to be putting their best on display. You can see Jaedong munching. He's got some gum or something. He's ready here. He's looking focused, and I can tell that practice is really starting to show through. He's been taking it super seriously this season.
Yeah, he's got a piece of Terran meat in his mouth right now. Jaw just rocking on that. Looking to secure more of a meal now. A bigger feast in the likes of Rush. And the map will be Knockout, by the way. Did the Korean translation on that remake of the map, Circuit Breakers. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with. So could be a very strong macro game here between these two gamers.
There's no meatier Terran than Mong, my friend. So I don't know what you're talking about, but Jaedong not going through with, opening up one of these crazier maps. It's his choice, right? He gets a veto. Rush gets 1 veto. If you want to let one of these crazier maps go through, Jaedong could definitely make that happen, but he's decided to go through on Knockout. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah, both players already going to be jumping right into it. ASL Season 20 Group E winners match. Jaedong versus Rush on Knockout. Let's get it going.
Jaedong down here in the bottom left-hand corner. Rush in top left. And a little bit about this map here. Kind of an interesting setup we've got. Not sure how it's going to play for ZVT. But one thing's for sure, it's going to be harder to break through that natural if you've got a sunken setup. It's just, there is that bit of a drop down. Gonna get some missed shots, with that trench, if everything's set up properly here in the natural for JD.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally speaking, in a lot of war games, those trench help you out, make you harder to hit from above. But in StarCraft, it works a lot differently, obviously making the units on that low ground have a bit of a chance to miss at least half of the time. So not really helpful when it comes to like breaking. So say this was like a Hydra Blast or something from Jaedong, probably not going to pay off as much as it would normally, just because of the mischance factor that you have to contend with, and vice versa as well. Trying to break the sunkens with some bio units could be a little bit tricky on this map, so can get away with also greedier openings as a result, not needing to invest so heavily in your defenses as you would usual. So yeah, we could see a very potent macro game, and Jaedong throwing down that 12 hatchery with the wall in from Rush. We definitely could be having a game like that.
Looks like he's going to build an extra drone here. I mean, he's on 12 again. Jaedong.
Yeah.
Okay, 12 hatch, 12
2.5
spawning
hatch.
pool here. Okay. No. Being a little bit greedy, I think. Getting that second drone after the hatchery goes down. Punishable for sure if this was a faster Rax, but not sure that Rush will even be able to put on that pressure here. He's gonna make a first Marine now, and we'll see if he's able to get anything done against Jaedong, who's getting away with a bit of greed. Oh my gosh, that drone almost gets the kill. So close there. Back at home, it's chasing the SCV in the main base as well.
Yeah, looping that SCV up with the Hawk Tour. Couldn't quite finish it off though, Sen, making it back to the safety of his main base of just 5 lowly hit points. So close to busting, but not quite. And yeah, I mean, just to point out, if this was Boxer, not Rush, he probably would have stolen Jaedong's gas. But obviously someone like Rush, not that kind of gamer. So we'll be seeing a much more macro-centric style of play out from him. We have got this singular Marine putting on pressure in the natural, try and deny some mining time. It probably won't obviously get a kill here, but just, you know, forcing a little bit of lost mining time, squeezing out a few minerals from the Iron Bank of Jaedong temporarily might make it harder for him to compound this early hatchery into a bigger and bigger economic lead. He has got these 2 Zerglings chasing this SCV in the main base, so he was safe to come in and poke in. He'll do a little bit of pressure here. It'll be a while before that link speed could become a factor. And he did see the timing of that lair, so he knows that there's nothing to really worry about. So he was able to safely poke in there for just a moment.
With the Lings out now, Rush just heads back home. He actually lifted his barracks for a second. I think that might have been a mistake. Maybe just repositioning it there. I'm not really sure. But right after the first Marine popped out, you know, maybe moving a little bit too fast on the keys, maybe a little jittery or something, or ended up lifting off that barracks and missing out on a bit of production time. Not sure it's really going to affect anything here. As Rush appears to be going for a early +1 build. He's got the eBay down back at home and no second racks here. Looks like he's just going to rely on this 4 racks +1 style. It's been super strong lately, but I bet anything that Jaedong is expecting this.
Right. I mean, and Jaedong did go for that 2.5 hatchery style, so it did add a couple of seconds to the timing of this Spire. Means the Mutalisks won't be as crisply timed as they could be, so Rush won't be as pressured to make sure all of his turrets are right on time. You can get away with a little bit of greed as Terran if you do identify it's going to be that 2.5 hatchery style. You can squeeze out just a little bit of extra Marines and SCVs and don't really need to cut anything to get all those turrets out. He's even going to start making a 3rd barracks right away before even starting to throw down his turrets. He knows he's got so long to prepare. That Spire's like a good 5 to 10 seconds later than usual, depending on the Zerg's optimization. So he should be good to go. He's going to go all the way to 4 racks before even throwing down a single turret right now.
Yeah, he's perfectly safe here back at home. Not going to be moving out at all to try and put on pressure. He doesn't have information about what Jaedong is doing behind this, so he could have made Lings potentially, waiting for something like a little move out, but he's going to get that scout in now, gets the scan, the first scan there in the main base, sees the timing on the eggs. I'm going to start to add on these turrets now. Rush, well known for having some amazing timings. He's very on cue when it comes to the early game Terran versus Zerg.
Yeah, unless you go for a very crisply timed lair, it's hard to come in here and punish something like this. And the Terran obviously prioritizing the turret production in the natural, since that's the main point of entry for the Zerg. You can see it takes him a few more seconds to wrap around and go into the main base. But Jaedong also knows that's where the turrets are going to be, in that natural. So if he can get in here into the natural and main, he might be able to find something still. There's probably only 1 or 2 turrets in the main base without any Marine support. So he can maybe snipe off one of these turrets, open up the position for later as well. Rush, as long as he's active with this bow, can keep rotating his force around, and Jaedong knows that, so he's gonna sometimes double dip and come back into the main base like this when Rush rotates, and you know, basically play a little bit of rock paper scissors with Rush, and hopefully Rush guesses wrong and keeps moving to defend a new location. You expect the Mutas to rotate around and hit another location, but Jaedong understands that and keeps going back in for more after the Terran moves.
Yeah, it's time for a Rush to move out. He's delayed it long enough here. As the Mutas come into the main, it's time to go out on the map. He's got a big group of bio here with that +1. Range is done. He forces Jaedong to respond to him, and now he can remake those turrets in the main. But I think Jaedong's done enough, right? He's got enough SCV kills there that he's going to be pretty comfortable. I mean, wasn't counting exactly how many went down, but at least 4 or 5, and that's probably what you want. Pretty much what you want. Yeah,
you're looking for 6 to be super comfortable. 5 is reasonable. You know, he had to remake a turret as well, so it's effectively 6 in terms of economic damage. Now he's just going to dive into the natural expansion. These turrets were technically undefended for a moment here. He wants to open up this position so he can deny the gas going up for a rush. If he can slow down this second gas, it is very painful for the SK Terran player to get all of the upgrades and science vessels needed on time. Jaedong knows that this is a good gas to try and exploit. Now that he's killed all these turrets, he can also funnel these Marines in this to this tight little choke point, try and pick a few of those off for free while punishing the SCVs. He certainly has racked up a lot of SCV count now, saying that's close to 10. He's definitely done a lot of damage, but hasn't got that third base critically. So he's doing a bit of a two-base timing here, and he needs to do a lot of heavy lifting if he's not going to expand just yet.
Yeah, he's pumping everything into Mutalis here and getting a lot of damage, but like you said, no third base means he doesn't have a very smooth transition set up just yet. There's the Hydroden, Queen's Nest on the way. +1 is done here, of course, and he's able to get very aggressive. Does need to do a lot of damage here, though, if he wants to keep Rush on the back foot and get that third base up on time, or get that third base up at all.
Yeah, even though this damage from Jaedong is good, it's actually necessary. Like, he has to do this to stay on the curve with the game, and he's just barely killing enough here to put himself into a pretty favorable spot, despite going for a very late third base. There's a Marine coming downtown to that base that's just gone up for Jaedong in the bottom right natural, but he's punishing the Marine move out by just diving onto these SCVs. He's got Sunken's back at home. He's not worried about this move out from Rush right now. Rush is trying to defend by attacking, but Jaedong overstayed his welcome a little bit because of those Sunken's back at home. Would buy him a few precious seconds for the Mutas to arrive in defense. So, I mean, this is a little bit of a masterclass from Jaedong, really disrupting Rush by playing a very technical game. Usually he has a hard time dealing with technical Terrans, and now he's creating a technical game for himself, and it's paying off thus far, Sam.
Yeah, he's just about won this game here, I think, Xun. Rush has nowhere to go. I mean, he can send a small group down to bottom right to just kill that hatch, but look, Jaedong canceled it. He's just going to let that drone die, and he's going to do so much damage here in the main and natural of Rush. This is awesome for Jaedong. He is absolutely wrecking Rush right now in a manner that I never would have expected.
I'm getting so many nerd chills, right? He's going to try and dive onto this vessel. He's not got that many mutas to finish it off, but some Zerglings coming in to just cripple the production of the Terran ever so slightly, chip away even more a few of those SCVs in the main mineral line with some Zerglings while he reestablishes himself. He has got Hive of 2 bases, so he can definitely still play a macro game from this position. He's killed so many SCVs, or he could go for a massive 2-base. Tonic snipes this vessel in the natural with 5 Mutalisks. He is running rings around Rush.
Oh my goodness. I mean, he gets the kill on the vessel as well. You've got to be kidding me here, Xun. I mean, how many SCVs are even left at this point? Rush has been absolutely eviscerated, and this third base is now going to come up. No two ways about it. Some Hydras have made their way down to the bottom right-hand corner. And Jaedong, I mean, he's been making drones behind this. He did have to spend a lot on sunken colonies to make this play work, but he's just got such a better economy here to just keep this pressure on and get into this transition. Okay, he doesn't have Lurker yet. That's a little bit of a surprise. I would have thought he had that upgrade finished already, but it wasn't done, and so maybe there's a chance here for Rush to come down and deny this base once again. If he keeps Jaedong on 2 bases forever, things can get out of control for the Zerg.
Yeah, there's just this trench to try and operate from. He's going to hope that these eggs can hatch and then bury the lurkers in the face of them, but it's not going to be good enough. Rush has got a good spot now, camping on top of these lurkers, gunning them down as they pop. Jaedong retreats to the ramp, seeing if he can get a tactical position. He has to cancel the hatchery no matter what, but 2 of those lurkers did get to the safety of that high ground ramp. Rush successfully denying this third base going up, but he has taken a lot of damage back at home. When you asked about the SCV count, he had about 22 or so. He's now started to replenish that. He's approaching the 30 mark again, so he will have a reasonable economy, but Jaedong swinging back into that base. Rush is having a hard time producing units and SCVs simultaneously. He's now in the shoes of a Zerg, having to pick between the 2, and he knows exactly what it feels like to play this complicated Xenomorph race.
Double drone being sent down here towards the bottom. There's 2 lurkers on the high ground. Can he get up that ramp, or will Rush catch that coming in? If he catches these drones, Jaedong going to be in a lot of trouble here. Okay, here comes the mutas now, and they will be able to get rid of these Marines. Now, Rush is far from dead here. He's still got quite a lot of bio out on the map, and Terran is one of the most resilient races when it comes to 2 base. You can hold on for an insane amount of time and just keep on holding on as the Zerg struggles to get this extra base online. He's gonna run right across this bridge. The Dark Swarm barely in time here, perfectly timed from Jaedong. He gets that Dark Swarm down, and he will hold here at the bridges. Beautifully done by Jaedong. Just so crisply timed there, getting that Defiler into position.
I mean, this is sick from Jaedong, and he's got enough of a Mutaflock with some Scourge to try and keep these vessels at bay. He had a few Zerglings to chew up, and we'll have another Darkswarm Cloud available to throw down. The Irradiates will eventually chew through this position, so Jaedong does need to finish those hatcheries, connect the Nidus Canal, as well as make some more Lurkers to replenish this. He will break through this with Irradiates before long, so Jaedong does need to hurry up right now. Rush still has a timing to break this pocket in the bottom right. With the Irradiate coming on the Defiler, that does basically put Jaedong on a minute timer as soon as that Dark Swarm comes down before it dies. So he's going to have to be quick about setting up here.
Yeah, this is, I mean, the timer is ticking down here. Just a few more seconds and that last Lurker will die. Did he have the hatchery built soon enough? Look at all the units ready to pop through this Nidus Canal. There goes one of the Lurkers. One more Lurker is going to go down here soon. The Nidus, he's just going to run for it. Can he actually kill the Nidus? He tries to block with the drone. The Nidus finishes. Everything pops through. He's going to save it. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. It's so close, but he does save it. Oh my gosh, but he has to make another Nidus. Did he make a second Nidus back at home? I think he's got one on the way, but he needs that Nidus right now. No, he just started it. He just started it, Xun.
Yeah.
This is so dangerous right now, but he can at least make Defilers at that base down in bottom right.
Absolute insanity. He has got another Defiler, though, down there. We'll buy him at least a minute with that Dark Swarm Cloud coming down. Scan online. Here comes the Irradiate onto that Defiler, so he will be on a minute timer. That Nidus Canal will just barely be finishing up in time if he makes it instantly. Has got some Firebats as well out on the map. Jaedong trying to defend by attacking right now with a little bit of a Mutaling stab, threatening a run by also preventing further reinforcements coming out onto the ramp. But he has a lot more Lurkers under those Cheeto clouds, and he's double stacked those clouds right now, so that it's hard to see where the Lurkers actually are, so he can't easily irradiate them. So he should be able to finish up this Nidus and get everything through that he needs to. Jaedong is holding and double expanding simultaneously. The Tyrant is back in business.
Yeah, not a second too soon getting those online here. We're past the 15-minute mark, Xun, and those bases are finally coming up. So things have been pretty intense, to say the least, so far. Jaedong with that very aggressive 2.5 hatch style. He's managed to get a lot done. He's managed to slow down Rush here, but Rush is now in full macro mode. He's got his third base coming up, and he's ready to... Oh my gosh, is he going to get this? Okay, he does get the kill on the Defiler here with the Irradiate, but sacrificing one vessel, still, it's affordable for Rush right now. He's got so many vessels in this flock, and he's really got that macro engine under him now. He can start to put on mad pressure here to Jaedong as he tries to make the transition.
Yeah, Jaedong's actually overmade Defilers. He's got 4 Defilers that he can pop through this Nidus. Now, he doesn't want to get into a situation where he hasn't got a Defiler ready. One of the ways Zergs get broken to the Terran Siege is they don't constantly make Defilers from both locations, and eventually there's a hole for the Terran to exploit, and that so-called Immortal Zerg falls flat on its face and goes splat. But Jaedong made a few of those in addition to what he needed, just to make sure that eventuality wouldn't come to pass. There's a couple of dropships making their way downtown across the map to try and elevate her into that base in the main. Jaedong has got some Mutalisk and Scourge as anti-dropship set up. He's doing a forward position now with some Scourge as well coming out, as well as these Zerglings out of Dark Storm trying to catch some of these vessels. He kills another 2 vessels. He will actually spot these dropships coming in. Mutalisks are already in position to defend against it. Mutas are great at anti-drop defense because they can one-shot the Marines as they're popping out of those dropships. And yeah, this is not looking good for us. He kind of has to sit back and try to go for a macro mode here, or maybe get lucky in the natural with these dropships. There's not a lot down here for Jaedong to defend if he does drop in the natural.
He just lost one of those Defilers right as the drop comes in, so gonna get a few drone kills here. Tries to pull back as soon as he can, but no Dark Swarm there to kind of deal with this. Double drop is going to get taken down by the Scourge and Mutas here in the main base, and Jaedong will clean this up with pretty good efficiency. However, the army making its way into the natural is kind of scary here. Double Sunken Colony is not going to be enough to hold on. Even Plagues there just to try and keep himself alive. There's the Ultralisk Cavern. Tries to hop through, not able to keep that Defiler alive. There's no lurkers at the natural. You were talking about earlier, Xun, that one of the ways you can die is by not having the Defiler there in time. If they have enough Fire Bats and you don't have enough lurkers there, that can be another way that the Zerg can just suddenly break apart.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, the Terrans have gotten so ingenious with how they combat this style of the Zerg. The end goal here from Jaedong is to get those Ultralisk units. I mean, you sometimes see crazy Zerg where they just rush right into it, but this is the traditional, safe way of getting into those Ultralisk units, but that is still the end goal. It's just a matter of how you get there, and going from Mutas into Lurkers, into Defilers, and then finally off 4 gases, getting Ultralisk is the traditional style of playing Zerg versus Terran, and it's a more of a defensive style. Jaedong's done it to perfection here, especially after that 2-base aggressive way of playing in the early game. Has 4-2 upgrades on these Ultras as well. Those Kaiser Blades will slice through those Terran infantry like butter, Saiyan. He's done a pretty good job of reducing the Science Vessel count, but now it's starting to reach a slightly scary number as well. There's a lot of vessels in the sky to start churning out those irradiates. Jaedong will have to go aggressive soon.
I love the burrowed lings around the map as well. Jaedong just waiting on Ultralisk speed to come online here before really putting his foot down, trying to come out on the map and put some pressure on Rush. Rush taking his 12 o'clock right as his main base is mining out. And so he's just barely going to be able to get this next bit of mining coming in here. Dark Swarm plus Ultra should be able to hold on. Drop in the bottom right, though, at the same time. There's Lings and Scourge there, but he's not paying attention at this very critical moment. He does have the Ultra here, though. Ultra, generally just a fantastic unit for clearing out drops. Maybe targeting down a few drones. No, not able to really target down any drones here, and that Ultra will clear out everything. Jaedong holds once again. Oh my gosh,
this borrowed Plus 3 weapons did just finish for a Rush about 20-30 seconds ago or so. So it has got a lot of punching power in these bio units to target down those Ultralisks. But Jaedong will have that +3 Carapace finishing up soon. This Marine being super annoying behind the mineral line. Yes, Ultras can't fit through there. This is kind of like a game of cat and mouse UMS back in the day where the Ultralisk can't quite fit through all of the hidey holes here. And the Terran acting as the mouse in this situation finally does lose that Marine after taking out a drone. Jaedong, though, now on the offensive, applying pressure to this mineral-only base of Rush. This bunker helping out a lot in both body blocking and keeping some of those Terran units alive, but he will overrun this position with Defiler support. There's an Eraser trick coming out in the bottom right base for Jaedong. Does he have Burrow? Does he even notice right now? There's so much action happening all over the map. More and more units streaming up to the northern hemisphere now as Jaedong looking to put the pressure on Rush in a big way. There's Defiler support at the natural. So many Firebats are ready to hold the line against the flood of Lings, but look at all the cows. There's not enough farmers here to handle them, saying, and Rush trying to break through at this natural location in the bottom right, but not being able to do so with Jaedong just firing in all cylinders, handling business.
Yeah, I mean, this is mined out now. There's a Defiler walking up the ramp into the main base. That's usually the end for the Terran player. Once that Dark Swarm is on top of the racks, there's no hope left. And GG is called. Jaedong cleans house here and moves on to the round of 16.
Woo! Jaedong, the Tyrant, he's back. He's breaking out into that round of 16 in style, 2-0ing his group, sending Rush down to that finals match. I mean, what insanity are we witnessing here today? Jaedong's looking so good, man. I still don't think he's necessarily going to take this whole tournament by storm, but he could go super deep and at least provide us with a lot of action-packed games along the way. Rush We'll have to go over the replay, analyze exactly where it all went wrong. Jaedong did a very technical style, staying on two bases for a long time, faking him out with that third base timing, forcing him to come out onto the map and doing a more delayed transition after killing so many of those worker units off the Terran. Really an interesting style there from Jaedong, showing that he can kind of do it all and going for a more orthodox style to follow it up with that double expansion into the bottom right. It was so critical. We're seeing on screen now the highlight of when he was trying to break through, do the run by to kill that Nidus. It's super close. Rush was so close in coming in. Look at the body block from the drone trying to help out a little bit. Jaedong just trying to do everything he can to make sure that Nidus can now finish as he gets the prerequisite units of some lurkers and a defiler through that tunnel and does hold. Really impressive stuff from the Tyrant. He was on a knife edge for a lot of that game and made it look easy.
Oh, that did not look easy to me, Xun. That looked like a grind. Jaedong barely hanging on for a really long time there, getting that third base up. So long in the making. Finally over in that bottom right, able to slip those drones through and make that happen. But I mean, he did look very powerful here at the end of this game. He just held on so well in that bottom right. When all the drops were happening, when the busts were coming through, he was still getting out on the map and putting the pressure onto Rush. And that's what you have to do to actually get a win here as Xur. You gotta, finally, after all the defending, you have to put the pressure back on.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm super stoked for Jaedong breaking out of his group in that much of a style. 2-0, really impressive stuff from him. And we will be having that losers match between Mong and Paralyze. That could also be a really spectacular PVT, guys. So don't go anywhere. Look at Jaedong, though, looking so composed in his aura. I mean, this guy's an absolute beast. And we've had a lot of pro gamers talk about how scared they are when they play against him, even when he's not necessarily in the best of form. There's just something about him that's different. He has these shark eyes. You know, he sees the game differently. When the units are on screen, he just goes for it. He doesn't take like a 1 or 2 second delay to size up the enemy before he makes a decision. He either goes in or doesn't in a moment's notice. He just has that instinct that killers have, and he's a real big force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, you guys go back and watch when he first dove the natural with his mutas. There's 3 turrets there, and he just basically right-clicked on the turret and, you know, shift-click down each turret in turn. It's not the way that most Zerg players want to handle that, but he knew how much time he had, and he was just optimizing his damage output there. Got back into micro, just killing off more and more SCVs after the turrets were down, but just showing a lot of confidence and decision making, like you said. Just he has no qualms about going in and getting the damage done when he feels like it's time. When he knows that he can get it done, he just commits. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, other gamers have said that when they see his units, it seems like he's got more units than he actually does. So when they see 6 Zerglings, it looks like 12 Zerglings, and they really feel the pressure of Jaedong's units being in their faces just because of how decisive he is with them. They really feel like they have to be more careful than usual, maybe meaning they also can't min-max their build orders and get away with the same kind of corner cutting that they would usually. And yeah, having that kind of an aura in a tournament definitely pays dividends. Flash was a great example of that. A lot of players feared him and respected him. He had that sort of I can't lose mentality in a lot of his games, and that made him so potent. And we see that kind of tier of mind process from Jaedong as well. He has this I'm the hunter, you're the prey mentality that always seems to pay off when he's in shape.
Yeah, he's really in shape today, guys, in this season of ASL. Best shape we've seen him in years, guys. He's kind of dabbled, I think, in the ASL in the past. Not really putting his full heart and soul into it. That's my impression anyway, guys. Take it for what it is. But this season, I think he is absolutely gunning for that top spot and putting in the real effort to make that happen.
Right. Now, I don't think either of these guys that will be coming up next will necessarily win this group. I think that'll be a major upset if Paralyze or Mong can somehow take out Rush in that finals match. But anything could happen, guys. And this PVT in particular coming up next is going to be pretty special. They're both specialists in this matchup. So quickly run to the bathroom, grab some water, grab some tipple of choice, and come back and join us for that losers match. It's going to be Mong versus Paralyze coming up next.
All right, guys, welcome back. I mean, we're taking hardly any breaks here today. Very short ones, that's for sure. Ready to get into this next one. Paralyze on stage now versus Mong here. Looks like he's holding some Pocari Sweat in his mouth. I saw a big 1 liter on his desk, so just kind of sticking by his guns here. We've always seen him with a big bottle of Pocari or some other sports drink whenever it comes to this matchup. I don't know how he doesn't have to pee all the time when he's just chugging away at that bottle, but that's
Yeah.
that's kind of how I am when I'm drinking that that kind of drink. Just gotta stay away from that thing. That's too much sugar, man.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, do you know what? I've actually been having an easier time casting. I don't know if my body's just adjusted to the amount of water that we consume during our cast, but I haven't had as much of that needing to run to the bathroom in between games or anything that I did back in the day. Like, I'm actually surprised. Like, I thought as I would get older, my bladder would just shrivel up to the size of a grape and I'd be running back and forth between that bathroom, but actually not. Like, I think my body's adapted to the water consumption a little bit here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. Maybe the nerves are a little bit less here. We've gotten more used to casting these games for you guys.
Right.
But either way, we are back from that short break and we're ready for this match. Paralyze, first time here in the ASL. Can he break through Mong? I think this is one of the worst losers matches he could have been sent into.
Yeah, I think both players are ready, so we're jumping straight into it. ASL Season 20 Group E is Paralyze versus Mong. It's going to be a pretty good PVT, guys, and the map, it's going to be Knockout.
Paralyze in the top left. Mong bottom right. Once again, going to knockout, and that's kind of how I was expecting most of the losers and winners matches to turn out. Both players banning those more crazy new maps, the spicy new maps, and opting for this one. But Larva surprised me in Group A, and I thought maybe we were gonna see, you know, more craziness and more risk-taking in this ASL, but it seems like most players kind of willing to just stick to this map instead.
Well, I think there'll be some guys that are, you know, strategizing on those ban picks, and, you know, if my opponent bans this, I'll ban that, and if he, you know, bans the other map, I'll ban the other one. You know, and I think some of them will end up on knockout no matter what. But I think occasionally we'll see some of these other maps slip through based on the rock, paper, scissor nature of the ban picks. And I think Lava did something like that in that game, where he kind of was like, okay, I got this build prepared for this map. So if my opponent bans the other map, I could just leave this map open, ban knockout instead, and then all of a sudden we've got a really spicy game that I can debut this cool build on.
Yeah, it gives you the opportunity to maybe get more practice on a map than your opponent, right? If they think that those maps are just not going to get played, and you just go and prepare that one strategy for that one specific map, you could end up overtaking a strong player, and we saw that with Larva. Of course, Larva a very strong player, but taking out Sharp was impressive, and part of that was due to the map pick. Now here on Knockout, Paralyze opening with Nexus first, cross spawn. You hate to see it, Xun. You're a Terran fan here, but I think Mong is one of those guys who's very well equipped to deal with even this strongest of builds.
Yeah, no, it's hard to punish this. I mean, you can, like someone like Sharp, you know, he's going to make that 11 gas. He's going to have a slightly faster factory. The Vulture will be out, you know, a good 5 to 7 seconds quicker than usual. And he will be able to technically apply pressure and squeeze that Vulture into the natural and force a little lost mining time, maybe a few probe kills just as the Dragoons are about to start coming down the ramp. So you can, you know, technically punish this with a very quick factory. I think Mong's factory was like 227, so it's actually pretty optimized. It's not quite like 11 gas optimized, but that's actually a pretty quick factory, considering I don't think he went for an 11 gas, right?
Yeah, we'll see if he can get anything going. It's a big old map, and that cross map, the cross map Nexus first is strong for a reason. You've just got so much time to get that Dragoon out and just kind of stabilize here. Some of the ways you can play against a Nexus first, you could pull the SCVs and try to go for something crazy, try to get a bunker rush going. You could also try to get early mines out, vultures and mines, and go for a very fast third base. And I'm not sure if that's viable on this map, but it is an option for Mong.
Yeah, I'm not sure this factory was quick enough. I mean, he should be producing a Dragoon. I think the Dragoon pops out just before the Vulture could slide into that mineral line. So I think that the Dragoon will be timed nicely here from Paralyze to stop too much damage from the Vulture. He's going to attempt it anyway, but I don't think he'll be super successful here. We might catch the probe at least. I mean, that's something, but even that's going to slow down the Vulture by another second or two getting into that natural. He's actually walling off the natural with pylons as well to guarantee nothing happening here. So maybe that Dragoon wouldn't have been so crisply timed as a result. Anyway, there it's coming down the ramp now. So we were pretty much right in how this mapped out. And Paralyze making some adjustments to ensure no lost mining time.
Oh, he's going to try to run by here. He knows that the cancel comes through. Oh, sick move from Mong.
Wow.
Super sick. He's going to get in this main. He needs to get a few kills here, though. Just 1 or 2 is not going to cut it. There's the second one going down in the main. Going to get a third kill. Oh, he spread the shots there. What? Oh, no, he did target the right probe. But a tick of shields came out, and that probe does manage to survive. Dude, so close to getting big damage there. Mong throwing away that Vulture for about 2 probes, though, in the main.
Yeah, I mean, I like the effort here from Mong. It does show his understanding of the matchup. He has got it mapped out a lot better than some of these other Terran gurus have. So do not be too surprised when you see Mong go for these kinds of gambits. He has got it all figured out in terms of when he can go for like this weird obscure timings that a lot of Protoss players don't get a lot of practice against. Mong has figured it all out. He's super solid in this matchup in particular, and if he does get underway with his macro, be aware he has some of the best Terran versus Protoss macro in the business.
I was expecting a starport here with this much vulture early game production.
That's not really his style.
But yeah, no starport here. Instead, just lots of vultures kind of roaming the map. Paralyze has managed to hold at least his high ground without having the observer here, so he can get his third Nexus out really quick. It's part of what makes Nexus First so strong, is the ability to get that third Nexus at such an early time. And there it is, 6 minutes he's going to start that. And so Mong, if he doesn't get some more damage going here, if he doesn't do something really fancy, he could start to fall really far behind here. You can see Paralyze ready for that drop as well. He's expecting it. With how much Mong has invested into these vultures early, it's kind of a given that he might want to use those to drop into the main base, get some extra damage here, and try to even things out. There's oh, there we go, third base. That's what I'm talking about, Xun.
Yeah. He's going to match greed with greed. And I mean, 6 minutes isn't super greedy, but it is on the greedy end of the spectrum. Still, 7 minutes is a lot more safe. But Protoss players always try and get away with much earlier Nexuses these days. Trying to get up on these Dragoons with some fragmentation grenades, laying down mines in the wake of these vultures as well. Tries to get the finisher on that Dragoon. Hasn't yet done it. Now finally picks it off before retreating. And we see a lot of this from Terrans in the past, trying to go for like mine expand into fast third, but usually off of one factory and it falls flat on its face. Mong's trying to do it here with 2 factories and then going into a higher count of that production facility. So, I mean, maybe this will pay out for him. I mean, usually Terrans try and do this off just one singular factory and end up being a little bit too flimsy, and the Protoss player bullies them. But in this case, I mean, he's done it with 2, and there's a more of a fast expansion from Paralyze. It will take a little bit of time to get his Reaver out, get some more gateways pumping. So maybe there's not much room to punish for Paralyze.
Yeah, this is a calculated risk, I'd say, for Mong. The build I was talking about earlier, where you just make mines, is, like you said, one factory into a command center, and you try to get your third, even before the Protoss can get theirs out. And then just, hold them back with the mines. But Mong here, he's got a pretty strong position on this high ground. It's just a mineral only, so it's not the most important base here for Mong to be taking. Paralyze can kind of let him get away with that as long as he continues to expand. He's looking towards that 12 o'clock and looking to get that Nexus going here pretty early on. At the same time, going to poke and prod and see if he can't get something done with a Reaver while Mong is spreading himself thin here on 3 base.
Yeah, I mean, I really do like this adjustment from Mong. Like, he's showing very high standards in terms of how he adapts and adjusts on the fly based on the build order and timings of the Protoss player. He's got it kind of figured out what he can get away with based on what he sees, and it's hard to compete with that. Like, you have to just out macro him to really do much about it. I mean, look at the supplies. He's not far behind Paralyze. He's macroing pretty heavily on these 3 bases now. Paralyze is going to be taking a quick 4th base to stay on curve. It's definitely a little bit on the greedy side as well. Usually you're looking at about 10 minute is the normal greedy timing for that 4th base. 11 minute, a lot more safe and standard. So having it 2 minutes early like this, definitely a little bit more greedy from Paralyze. Still trying to stay on trend right now. Also poking in here at the mineral only. Forces a little bit of a lost mining time, but not really finding the compensation that he needs to. Mong will start to power up all the way up to like 7 factories now on these 3 bases. Push up into 2-1 upgrades and also get a 4th behind it, and there will not be a lot Paralyze can do to challenge besides macroing up himself.
Yeah, he's basically doing what he can right now, poking at the edges. You're so spread out here with this very early 3rd base, and on such small unit count. There's usually a spot, some spot where the Protoss can find a way to get damage, and a few players come to mind that are extremely good at finding those locations. Oh my goodness, Monk's just gonna take this on location. That's crazy. I mean, I was expecting the 4th base to come out soon, but already he's just gonna throw that down? Crazy. I mean, he's spreading himself so thin here, but so far his defense has been on point, Xun. I was gonna say, like, usually players are able to find those little holes. People like Snow, able to get in there and just find that little spot of damage you just didn't quite cover properly, but Paralyze hasn't been able to do that, and Mong is looking well covered everywhere. Is there a spot where Paralyze can smash through and actually slow down this 4th base? Because if he gets this online, I think Mong is just going to steamroll through Paralyze as he goes towards max here.
Absolutely. He's going to supply depot wall off this one choke point on the left-hand side. He's going to poke in here with some Dragoons enemies, see if he can lean on the Terran player and find anything. He's trying to grow himself while taking that 5th base in the top right natural. Mong went up to 8 factories, not 7, before taking this 4th base. So he's going to come online in a big way soon. Vulture raiding party out on the map, spots the speed shuttles in transit as well. Going to be putting down some mines, applying a little bit of pressure to Paralyze, playing distraction right now while he starts to get macroing on all cylinders back at home. Not much he can do with these Vulture bikes besides, you know, making Paralyze a little bit paranoid about some kind of run by or what have you. And I don't think it's going to be easy to bust this position. Paralyze is going to attempt anyway. 2 speed shuttles about to start bombing down onto these tanks. There's some Psionic Storms available to him as well. Help clearing out some of those tanks as well as a lot of those SCVs. Half of that train of SCVs bit the dust. Now though, Mong quickly responding to the threat, wiping it out, cleaning house, and still pretty much undeterred, even on supply as well. We're macroing up powerfully on these 4 bases. This is a Terran-sided game, Sam.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Mong is getting huge. And that attack was good. I mean, Mong could have had some more of his rallies at that location, but he was pretty quick to respond. He got everything over there very quickly to deal with that attack, and now he's rocketing up towards that max supply. 1-1 is done. I can imagine that his further upgrades are going to be coming online here soon as well. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Losing Reavers here and the big connections on the Dragoon. So much is happening right now for Paralyze. Paralyze losing a ton out on the map, and Mong's going to get up here, start to deny the space. He's going to force a response or a counterattack. Oh, he just guns down the Reaver as well. That was so low on HP. He might lose this base, Xun. Paralyze just going to go for the full-on counterattack. Can he make it work here? Can he bust this position?
Oh, he's trying to make it work. He's desperate for damage, though. This is not so much a clutch play as it is just hoping for the best. Now, Paralyze in a really awkward spot, behind in supply quite significantly. He needs something to go his way. He's been denied in this 5th base attempt top right. He's in a world of hurt. He might even be tapping out of this game in the next few minutes. I don't see much hope for him after losing that 5th base like that. Unable to bust this 4th of Mong's as well. I told you this guy was essentially a magician in this matchup. He will be stuck on those 1-1 upgrades for some time. You can see he's now transitioning into the starport. You can, in StarCraft in general, you basically have 3 points you can focus on: army, tech, or economy. And Mong has just said, yeah, we're doing army and economy all the way, baby. And tech is going to be the afterthought. So he will be slightly delayed in those upgrades, but it's not going to matter. There's so much meat on the bone for Paralyze to chew through. Oh my gosh, Sam. Mong is just absolutely steamrolling Paralyze indirectly in this game.
Yeah, I want to say what I said before. Again, want to reiterate that this is probably the worst player that Paralyze could come up against. Mong. Oh my gosh, these are some great storms. Killing off a lot of these SCVs, these workers going down here in the natural, but I mean, the damage has kind of been done to the army of Paralyze. And look at this, Mong just going to take another base. Dude, this guy is so aggressive when it comes to expansions. It's incredible. He's getting so much out of this map, just taking over the map right now. 192 supply, and he's moving out in a big way. counterattack from Paralyze moving towards the 6 o'clock. Maybe this is a moment where he can get a win here. Try to break through this base, but the army is being moved to respond. Mong all over that, and he's just going to shut down this attack.
Oh, I mean, this macro monster Mong is just all over Paralyze, being very fluid in his army positioning and control as well, responding to active threats in time. Not much hope for Paralyze. Some pretty good Sonic Storms on those tanks on the front line, but it's not gonna matter. He's still even on supply with Mong, trying to get that 5th base established at the 9 o'clock. It's just recently finished. He has been distracted fighting against Mong, hasn't yet saturated that with some probes though. However, finally that transfer coming online now. He's loading up some additional shuttles, making a lot of Zealots. These Dragoons, though, stuck trying to get across that ramp, unfortunately, like the Three Stooges. Mong siphoning off most of the heavy-hitting units of those Dragoon forces. Here comes a big flood of Zealots, but there's no longer a big force of Dragoons to help go toe-to-toe with that 1-2 punch combination to help clear out these tanks. Not many Vultures, though, to screen against these siege tanks either. So a lot of these forces will actually be broken by Mong. There's almost no Vultures here temporarily. Here comes some now, but maybe Paralyze can start to reduce the tank count a little bit to have some kind of hope in this game. I'm not so sure though.
Well, Paralyze didn't take that top right again for a long time. He's just thrown the Nexus down now, but I mean, he's only got this center left. That's his advantage over Mong, and Mong, I mean, I think a transfer just went down to bottom left. I'm not sure if we got it on screen there, but he's matching the bases still, even on bases with the Protoss. It is insane what he's able to do at these lower supplies, getting these crazy quick bases online that we just expect to see broken by the Protoss player, going for this crazy shuttle style where you've got tons of Storm and Zealots and everything. You're always going to have a high supply, especially with that Nexus first, but Mong just does not care. His positions are solid, and his game plan is unbreakable here. He's just smashing through.
Yeah, there's another hopeful Storm drop at 6 o'clock, but only kills like 3 or 4 SCVs, not finding the damage that he needs to put a dent into this macro engine of Mong right now. And he's coming up to this top right Nexus, yet again, shutting it down. When Vultures have some weapon upgrades, they can chew through buildings pretty quickly. The shields evaporate, and as long as they've got a few attack upgrades, they can hit into that armor pretty handily as well. You can see how low that Nexus is already. Paralyzed in a world of hurt in this game. Mong has eclipsed him in supply and now ahead in bases essentially, because you need to be one base ahead as Protoss. So he's essentially behind in bases on paper, and has a little bit of a force coming down to that bottom left pocket to put on pressure. Another Storm drop at the 6 o'clock as well. Paralyzed doing the right moves to come back in this game, but it's still falling short. And a probe transfer going over to a base that doesn't exist. Those probes are dying for free right now.
Yeah, he's trying to get something done here in the bottom left while that probe transfer was going through. Just didn't follow through all the way, though, and he's going to lose a bunch of workers there. It looks like Mong going to lose some stuff here as well, but these moves from Paralyze, they're coming a bit late, just like in that game versus Rush.
Yeah.
The armies have already been thrown aside, and Mong has a good, solid footing now in this game, and even these little disruptive drops are not going to dislodge Mong from his position. He's going to continue with them. I think it's the right choice here to try and get more damage here on the economy, but Mong is going to start holding these better and better. And in fact, he's not even going to lose an SCV to this drop. He's going to clear all these Templar, and he's going to be in a good spot here on the high ground now at bottom left, just clearing up all these small groups of units, and still no base in top right for Paralyze, guys. Still no base. No. And that block, oh my god, the block on the ramp.
That was sick with the Vulture block on the ramp. Super impressive stuff from Mong. He's still ahead in supply by about 20 or so. And yeah, Paralyze, he's in trouble. Like, the one thing going for Paralyze is he can still rapidly expand in this top right. He has got decent upgrades, but Mong just finished his 2-2. So it was 2-1 Paralyze versus 1-1 Mong for a long time. Now Mong has that 2-2. Oh! The High Templar down to the mine there does get some massive Sonic Storm connections on the back line. line of tanks and vultures alike, but it might not be enough. There's just too much for Mong. Now almost 40 supply ahead. He's going to transfer a massive SCV train to the 3 o'clock as well. This guy is just unstoppable, man. Like, I don't even know how he does it. He makes Terran versus Protoss look so simple and easy. Like, almost every other Terran struggles in this matchup, but Mong, he seems to have figured it out.
Yeah, he really does. He's well deserving of that 60+ percentage win rate versus Protoss. All of his other matchups are suffering at the cost of this. It's like he it's like he made a wish on a monkey's foot or something, said, please let me be good at Protoss, and then all of his other matchups just kind of stink. It is what it is. He got a bit of a rough group. He may not be able to make it through whoever comes next, or excuse me, through Rush, but I mean, he is definitely going strong in this game, and Paralyze is on death's door.
Yeah, that monkey paw wish coming with a little bit of unforeseen consequences and being bad at these other matchups a little bit. But when it comes to versus Protoss, he is almost second to none. Just another day in the office for Mong. Paralyze, gonna be eliminated from the round of 24 here in the ASL Season 20 Group E. And he will be joining us, Mong that is, in that finals match against Rush. Will he cause an upset? Will he take down Rush? It's not TVZ. He's a little bit more formidable in that mirror matchup. Still has some problems with it, historically speaking. Once upon a time, that was his weakest matchup, but that changed a little bit in these recent years, and now it's versus Zerk he has trouble with. So maybe he's improved a lot in that mirror and can take a game off Rush.
Mong here. Looking forward to that next game. How will he fare against Rush? His DVT is not quite as
Really
good, but
Rush, sorry.
yeah, Rush is super strong in TVT. He's definitely the favorite to win there. Can Mong make that upset? It's going to be one of the first upsets for me if he does manage to get through into that round of 16.
Yeah, Rush is really good TVT. I think it's his best matchup. He did get eliminated in previous finals. Like, yeah, ASL Season 14, he lost against Royal. That was the tournament that Royal got his belt. So he's not always like completely destroying in that matchup, but generally speaking, his win rate pretty good in that mirror. Mong has had problems with it in the past. We don't know how good he is right now. We're about to find out though, guys. So run to the bathroom, grab some drinks, grab some snacks. We'll be joining you here in the finals match of Group E soon. It's going to be Mong versus Rush. Don't go anywhere.
All right, boys. Our final match tonight will decide the next player joining the round of 16. The loser going home. I imagine it's going to be this man right here on screen. Rush should be able to make it through. He's looking determined. But Mong, likewise, looking very determined in that last game. Looking very confident in that last game. Of course, that was his best matchup, and he's had traditional struggles in TVT, but we'll see. Again, anything can happen in the best of one, and Rush going out in the round of 24, that would be insane.
Yeah, the map's going to be Polestar, by the way, saying so a nice macro map to see these guys contend with one another on. Looks like Mong getting serious, taking off the jacket. He knows he's probably going to reach higher temperatures during a game against Rush. Going to try and get as comfortable as possible. Popped a few pieces of gum in his mouth as well. Look at this laser-focused Turbidator on the other side of the stage, though. He's locked in, ready to break through and join Jaedong in that round of 16. Will Mong be able to stop him?
Rush has a bit of hair in his eyes, man. I don't know how these guys play with that hair, but here we go.
Yeah, ASL Season 20 finals match in the Group E. Here it is, guys. Let's get it started. The map's going to be Polestar, final game of the day.
Rush down here in the bottom right. Mong in the top right. Vertical spawns, guys. And before we get started with this game, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that we started a Patreon recently for our duo cast, Xun and Saiyan duo cast. If you guys look down for the link in the description on StarCastTV, those links bring you to support StarCastTV, and you're welcome to do so if you'd like. But if you want to support our casting or the ASL, SCSL, KCM, and others, please head over to Saiyan Xun Duo Cast at Patreon. It's SAIYANXUN Duo Cast at Patreon. So we really appreciate your guys' support. It's been a long time coming. We probably should have done it before, but we started this one up now, this joint Patreon account, which we'll be sharing from now on.
Yeah, it's been really humbling, saying honestly, having some of these guys show us some love and liking what we do. So if you can, go over there, join us for free to keep an eye on our spoiler-free schedules. That's cool too. But if you can buy us a coffee a month or whatever else you want to throw our way, it'd be so appreciated, guys. Like, we do this as a passion project, and obviously we take a lot of time and attention to do so. So any help you throw our way is just like held so dearly in our hearts. So thank you so much, everyone that has supported us already and those that will be supporting us in the future. Thank you so much, guys. Looks like a much more forward Rax, though, jumping into this game from Rush, way out into the center of the map. Wants to keep the opportunity to put some pressure on. Say if Mong only makes a single Marine here or something, I mean, you know, Rush could potentially punish that. It also does enable a much faster scout timing from Rush as well, since that building will have to float a little bit less distance.
Yeah, it's gonna take a little bit of a risk here by placing this out on the map. We'll see how many Marines he wants to build. 2 is standard. 1 is a little bit greedy. And we'll see if Mong wants to get a little greedy here himself. Looks like gonna throw down this factory right away, and we'll get that scout going now. Marine gonna be heading up towards the top right. Rush has a pretty good idea here for getting this information quickly, finding out where Mong is and what he's up to here right away. Looks like he's going to scout this high ground with the Marine. Okay, Marine coming down from Mong. He's going to get the first shot here. Looks like, oh, I think this is exactly the same. Both of them going to die? No.
Ooh.
Wait, Rush, I think, went to turn around there for a second.
Yeah. StarCraft's a very interesting game. So it's similar to Diablo 2, where there's like frames built within the game code. So if the unit has to turn around ever so slightly, that's an added frame to the animation. So Rush was shooting 1 frame ahead Mong was shooting 1 frame ahead of Rush. There, here comes Rush over again for round 2, bringing SCV to bear. Does lose another one of his Marines. He's trying to get a tactical win here, but does lose all of his SCVs. Now bumping bellies with that SCV. Fusion Cutter, though, of Rush, also killing the SCV of Mong. A lot of back and forth action already in this game, Saiyan. So, I mean, this could be a spicy game, or that could just be the appetizer to a long, drawn-out macro game. Who's to say?
Yeah, that was a bit of a risky move there. Rush sending 3 Marines in, trying to get that damage. Very good control from Mong to actually block that Marine from retreating and get the kill there. Trading, I guess, 2 SCVs for 3 Marines. And a couple of Marines. Sorry, 2 SCVs, 2 Marines for 3 Marines on the side of Rush. And it's not too bad, you know? I mean, it could have definitely gone worse there on either side. Both players get their CCs up. And we're going to go into a bit of a macro game here, guys. Will either player opt to switch out of vultures here? Are we going to have a vulture war?
Ooh,
oh my goodness.
Mong slipping behind. He gets the first shot off as well. Mong's going to win this fight. And the 4th vulture just barely coming out in time for Rush, actually. Now Mong in a little bit of trouble as he could lose this vulture on the escape vector. Not able to get away. Paying off for Rush now. He didn't skip any beats in his macro. So that 4th vulture coming down the ramp saves the day. Mong kind of like forcing himself into a bit of a bad spot now. Didn't have the vulture timings mapped out well enough and paid the price as a result. Rush is going to repair up those low HP vultures. Both players throwing down factories right now. We have 3 apiece, so we could be seeing a vulture war centric style, at least for the time being.
Well, that does not bode well for Mong. Might want to be the first to transition out of that vulture war here, as he's down 1 vulture at the very beginning. Let's see if he wants to build a tank here. I don't see an armory or anything for either player, so unlikely we're going to see a Goliath transition. Bringing forward the vultures here and blocking the ramp. Very good target fire from Rush. Dude, this could just end right here, right now. A tank does pop out. Great repair, actually. And he will be able to hold on to that 2nd vulture. Only losing 1. And having the tank out now, this is okay for Mong.
Yeah.
It was a little scary there for a moment. As soon as those 2 vultures go down, you can start to just massacre the SCVs, but Mong holds on for the moment.
There was a little moment of indecisiveness from Rush there, actually. Like, he went from switching to targeting the vulture to the SCVs and then back again. And because of that little window of hesitation on what he should be focusing on, he repaired up the vulture enough not to lose it. So that's something else that will help out Mong. Just having like 1 more additional vulture than he would usually. Now, obviously the tank is great against vultures, but if you've got pretty much nothing but a couple of tanks versus a massive army of vultures, the vultures can still reign supreme. So still have to be very careful. And as you can see, Rush has a tank of his own to provide a lot of DPS output. Needs to still be careful, though. Mong, with his 2 tanks now in the center of the board, can do a lot of DPS with that Arclight cannon on the ground. So I'm sure both players will now be a little bit hesitant to move out. Rush trying to be a little bit cute like Mong was in landing that barracks to block some unit transitioning abilities. That's why he killed his own egg there, to make sure that the unit flow doesn't get blocked again, and that the circuitry remains open for his units to... Oh, massive good target firing onto the tanks. Rush pulls that tank back perfectly, though. Will be able to snipe it eventually. Mong does, that is. And with the superior count of vultures, though, Rush getting on top of everything here, and you can't really retreat when you've got vultures in your face. They just move so fast. So Mong in a lot of trouble now as Rush steamrolls forward.
Ooh, he loses the tank to a mine. That's something, I guess, but yeah, the writing's on the wall here as he just guns down the vultures 1 by 1. Can start to focus down the SCVs here. Mong just not quite just doesn't quite have it the same way he does in a TVP, man. He is going to get kind of ripped apart here by Rush, and there's not much you can do from a situation like this. Vulture War can swing so quickly on either side, and it's so hard to come back once the pendulum is swung in your opponent's direction.
And it's such a mechanical way of playing TVT in general. You can see the APM there of Rush hitting 430 frequently, and he's probably better at executing something like this than Mong is. He's just more adept in Terran versus Terran in general. Mong having a hard time keeping up with the ASL quality of play. Maybe online, Mong could make this work, but in this important of a tournament against the Terminator of Rush, he's having a world of hurt. 4 factory on the way for Rush. No mining in the natural for Mong. The writing, as you say so eloquently, is on the wall now for Mong, and those letters are about to fall.
All right, siege mode finishes up. Not a terrible trade here for Mong as he comes down his own ramp. Still, more vultures versus less vultures. Rush is still able to kind of hold back Mong for the time being. He's going to accelerate ahead of him in supply just off of that mining time that he had while Mong was busy breaking down his ramp. And Rush, maybe he doesn't win right now, but it's getting really hard here for Mong to hang on. If he manages to make this comeback, I would be absolutely shocked.
Yeah, no, it's going to be really tough for him. I mean, it does sometimes take a long time to close out Terran versus Terran games, so maybe Mong will stick with it for a while here. And it might be like, 10 minutes in the making for Rush to close this out. He's got a third base on the way now. Mong trying to gain ground. He scanned the mines. Pushing forward now, desperate to set up some kind of positional advantage, gain back some ground after losing all that mining time. But I mean, as long as Rush doesn't make any blunders here, it's going to be so tough for Mong.
Yeah, the days of just being able to siege tank and never leave the game, I think those are kind of over. Rush and basically all Terran players at the ASL caliber are pretty capable of smashing through, especially, unupgraded tanks before that +2 attack. You can... They're very capable of bringing their army forward, getting on top of those tanks, dropping the mines, getting the mine connections, and sieging up just barely in range to get to make the push work. Mong is going to hold that high ground, which is a powerful position, but you can just see it in the supplies right now. Mong is way behind, and he's just hoping for a miracle.
Yeah, absolutely, Saiyan. I mean, I don't think it'll be super quick for Rush to finish this game, but not nearly as long as we've had in the past. I mean, once upon a time, it was like Terran versus Terrans would go to like 30, 60 minutes, almost no matter what. It's not quite that way anymore. Like, it does sometimes still take you, 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes to close out certain games. We'll see. Mong has got a third base of his own underway, trying to play catch up right now, but is almost 25 or 30 supply almost behind schedule right now, having a hard time establishing himself in this game against Rush. And he's going to kill this barracks, but not long before Rush has thrown down plenty of factories, so it's not really a factor. Rush now pushing the center of the board, trying to gain very critical control. Like in chess, controlling the center is so important in Terran versus Terran, despite it being a more dynamic matchup. Holding the center is still so important. You can see him throw down additional factories just before that barracks could burn down. I'm not sure how long it will take for that to occur. He did put a lot of damage on it with the glides. But one thing I wanted to say, Sam, like what you were saying about the weapons upgrade, just so people know, once you get +2 weapons upgrade on these siege tanks, it takes only 2 shots to kill a tank rather than 3.
Yeah, that just makes it so much more difficult to break through these positions. But so far, Rush has just been smashing through. Look, he's going to move forward here again. Very good target fire here from Rush. He just cleared, I think, 4 tanks at the cost of 1. And that's just not a winning formula for Mong. I mean, having the position here is great. And, being out on the map and just kind of forcing Rush back is good. But Rush is slowly going to eke around the side here and get that side control. Drop over on this high ground. Looks like it's going to be completely shut down. This is really not going to do too much for Rush. Maybe he kills the SCV. Not going to target it down. So he actually loses the dropship tank and those 2 vultures practically for free. But he's slowly spreading around this left-hand side and getting the chokehold on Mong that he's not going to be able to break.
It was actually a genius move from Rush. What he really wanted to do was draw the attention of Mong to that 3 o'clock spot, just so that he could look for more forward positions. Like, he's gonna reconsolidate the control over the center, think about containing this northern lane as well to keep Mong locked on these the 4 bases. And he's gonna, again, distract Mong at that 3 o'clock location with a dropship, while now starting to ram it down during the middle. He was thinking about containing the northern hemisphere on that lane, but now decides to push forward through the center to force some trades. Mong doing a pretty good job of holding the line, still 20 supply behind though. And once he's launched these tanks into that attacking position, now comes another force of Rush attacking on this vertical axis, trying to tighten the noose around this 3 o'clock expansion.
Ooh, kind of some missed shots there are gonna, oh my gosh, a lot of missed shots on this tank on high ground, man. Just targeting that and not really getting much damage there. Some tanks kind of bleeding in for free. Mong gonna hold on to this position for a little bit longer, but again, still 30 supply disadvantage. Absolutely relentless with the drops as well. Rush is gonna keep hitting this base over and over again, and finally it's gonna start to stick.
Yeah, here comes the vultures to really deny mining, as well as clear up some of those precious worker units. This is a world of hurt now for Mong, as he's now behind in economy yet again, not mining on this base. He needs to make something happen. He's going to shuffle forward these tanks ever so slightly. Has the floating barracks for vision range advantage. Tanks can shoot further than they can see, so we'll be getting some first shot salvos onto the tanks of Rush for the time being. But all those SCVs are dead at 3 o'clock now. So it's 3 base Mong essentially to the 4 bases of Rush. That's not a winning formula, to say the least. Another 2 dropships as well, making their way downtown.
Yeah, those 2 drops just gonna fly straight through, maybe hit this 3rd base. It's totally undefended here. He can drop on the other side of the wall as well. Oh my gosh, this is really painful for Mong. His both armories are here as well. Could possibly target down an armory. Mong gonna move to position his tanks over the wall where they can still hit, and so he actually clears this up with relative ease. He's even gonna get some vultures in to the 6 o'clock. So Mong's making some good moves to try and come back in this game. But still, I mean, it's still so tough. He's got to make so many good moves to actually make this a comeback.
Right, yeah, he's kind of doing what he needs to. Like, he's putting on some counter damage, killing some of the economy here of Rush. Has shut down that drop. A bigger and bigger fleet, though, is being ascertained by Rush in this game the longer we go on here, and he will start to hit this 3 o'clock base harder and harder potentially as well. Could just bomb on top of those siege tanks, or go all the way down to the main base yet again and hit the production line that's a little bit more exposed for Mong, and force a tactical withdrawal of a lot of these units. There are some mines here, but he's actually going to clear some of them out for his own units to make sure there's no shenanigans going on. He's going to drop the tanks way in the back mineral line of the main base. +2 weapons has been finished, like the observer just now popped out. Mong is, though, killing SCVs at that 6 o'clock. We just got a picture-in-picture there of that. So counter damage from Mong while this is going on. A bit of a tactical advantage from Mong in the way of pressuring that base at the same time, but Rush isn't done just yet. These tanks in the main base are still online, and causing a lot of problems.
Yeah, right as the +2 hits, he immediately pushes towards the middle again and drops here in the main base. It's such good kind of practical play from Rush to just keep on this pressure and don't let Mong have any type of a relief here. He's gonna start to push forward again. Mong gonna lose even more tanks as he's trying to clear this out. It's such a hard slog to actually keep this alive, and another drop is gonna come through. This might be the killer. Dropping on top of the 4th base. I wasn't actually expecting it. There's enough tanks here to clear out a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna go for the main once again, try to kind of deal the finishing blow there.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised to see the tanks start to come out behind those minerals, because the tanks for Mong are not in that bad of position to shut that down. So, I mean, he did kill a few SCVs. He's being a little bit annoying. That one Goliath just barely out of range of those tanks of Mong there. So we'll have to shuffle one of his own tanks over to deal with that. Yeah, with these dropship-centric style, they're really hard for Mong to keep up with everything. There's going to be pressure all over the board. He's going to yet again go in with full dropship hit squad to the natural expansion. Now, Mong did have some units set up there in the rally point, but they're now moving over to the third. So they're out of position right now. Rush could get quite a lot of damage done in this natural.
Ooh, gonna set up right behind these SCVs, and Mong's gonna pull those forward to try and bait some damage. Meanwhile, going for a big old counter attack. Can he actually get into the natural right now? That would be insane. This is really gonna throw a Rush for a loop here. He'll have to pull back a lot of his units and try to stop this attack. But the +2 is absolutely wrecking these tanks as they try to push forward, man. That +2 on the tanks there in the natural made such a big difference. So many tanks went down. Another attack over here at the bottom center. This is a crazy game right now. Rush is getting on top of the production, though.
Yeah, both players are potentially getting on top of each other's production. Seems like Mong not going up into the main, instead cycling over here to the third base, trying to attack the economy of Rush, while Rush is actually shutting down his production by having these tanks not only shelling the factories, but picking off the units as they pop out as well. What a wild game we're seeing. This is a great Hail Mary attempt from Mong. I don't think it's going to pay off. I think Rush will stabilize and come out on top. He's actually currently 50 supply ahead. That's a beautiful mine connection on those tanks, but it's not enough to clear all of them up. Mong also has his +1 weapons, but he has had a harder time getting value out of that in this game. The tactical advantage has been going Rush's way most of this game, and now another dropship load up going downtown yet again. There's only one tank here saying he can bust this.
Yeah, or Rush could just build rates. He could do that too. Oh, there's a pretty easy victory here for Rush. There it is, GG. And Rush will advance. Mong just not quite making the cut here, despite having a great game versus Paralyze in that losers match.
You could see that actually a slight disappointment on Rush's face. Like, he was doing so well in that game, he was annoyed that he wasn't doing better. Like, he probably will go over the replay quickly and be like, hang on a minute, I should have closed that out a little bit more cleanly than that. Like, he's a bit of a perfectionist. He's going to go over that and see where he could have done even better. He's shaking his head a little bit like, hang on a minute, I could have crushed this guy even harder. What happened there? I shouldn't have given him a chance of counterattacking me. Like, it's crazy how good these guys are that they're actually annoyed when they don't win more.
Yeah, we definitely saw that in some of these earlier groups too. For example, Mini, looking like he lost his game when he actually won, throwing his head to the side and like giving out an exasperated sigh. This was the big moment, of course, going in for the drop, but really, Rush had such a big advantage. You can already see it on screen here with that 40 extra supply. It was his game to throw, and he was kind of looking like he might end up throwing. It was close. Like, maybe there was a chance for Mong. Like, if he, for example, drops on top of a bunch of mines with this drop, it can get pretty spicy, and maybe Mong can make a comeback for that. So glad that Rush made sure that he had the scans. He made sure that he was doing everything properly. It got a little bit hairy, but he kept everything together and managed to push through Mong.
I mean, it was a really impressive TVT. And as you guys can see, we weren't joking when we said that these games get closed out a lot sooner than they used to. This was still a pretty early GG, considering Mong essentially had 4 mining bases. Just everyone is so good now in knowing how to attack, how to utilize the dropships in the mid game to maximum effectiveness. Really is a spicy matchup compared to what it used to be. Like, it basically was like British food once upon a time, saying not enough seasoning, but they figured out that spices are a thing and they've added them to the dishes.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. A little bit more spicy food. For sure. We get some great games now in DVT. And in fact, I don't think it's even the longest matchup anymore. We get way more long matches in TVP and even ZVP than we ever do in DVT these days. Like ASL 19, ASL 20. I actually haven't seen a battle cruiser for, more than 2, 3, 4 seasons. Like, it's been a long time since I've seen that in TVT.
And we've seen the battle cruisers in that game against Lava on that island map, right? Screaming Seas. So, I mean, yeah, you're
Right.
absolutely right saying that matchup is becoming shorter and shorter. I think a lot of the way people think about the game once upon a time is not quite the case. And that's what's so beautiful about this game in general. It's completely changing all the time. The only thing that is constant in life is change, saying, and it's always in a state of flux here, especially at the highest tiers of play. Obviously, some of the TVTs on the ladder you guys might play will probably turn out into like these 50-minute long slogs, but that's because you're not executing and knowing how to find and create opportunities like these guys can at the highest caliber of play. They don't wait for the opportunities, they create the opportunities, and they do it in such spectacular fashion.
Yeah, it really was the case in the past that you would just siege your tanks and never leave the game. It was so hard to break. You would lose so much stuff trying to smash through a Terran line that it was almost not even worth it. You just wait for drops or make wraiths or, try to circumnavigate those tank lines in order to get a win. But you can see here, Rush and a lot of these Terran players are absolutely capable of breaking those lines with just a quick move forward with a few tanks and a bunch of vultures able to get in on top of everything with the mines. It's like, imagine taking a Terran player from today and sending them back, 10 years ago or 10 seasons ago and having them play against in
Yeah.
TVT. They would be absolutely horrified at the speed at which they're able to take down these other Terrans. It's crazy how much this matchup has changed.
Yeah, can you imagine if we could put like the modern era players against some of the players of the old? Like they would be like falling out of their chair at not being able to keep up with the new pace that these guys now have. They don't just stroll leisurely in the park anymore. Saying they're power walking. They're turning 20 minutes of walking into 1 minute worth of exercise just because of how accelerant they are in just getting everything working correctly and finding all these little timings that you can exploit and finding those positional advantages and what have you. It's just been a real treat to cast ASL in general, I have to say. Like honestly guys, like if times are tough for you right now, don't worry about throwing a few bones our way. I know it's not easy in this current economy and climate, but just you guys showing us any kind of love, even if it's not in the form of money, I mean, it really does mean the world to us. We just love to bring you as best of cast as possible, and being able to be here together as a duo, bringing you these great games is a gift enough.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, Shun. Dream come true for sure. It's like Christmas in the summer, and this second season has gone off with a bang so far. We've had a lot of good games here, a lot of memorable matches, and I'm expecting an amazing round of 16. Basically, my predictions from the early parts, like before the round of 24 started, I made a prediction video on my channel, guys. And if you haven't yet, uh, it's free. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Saiyan KCM. You can check out our other videos on there. But I made a prediction video, and basically everything has gone right. Now I'm not or not hoping that that's going to happen. Even I'm hoping for some upsets, but at the same time, it sets us up for an insanely good round of 16. Everybody who deserves to be there.
Yeah.
There's been no upsets. All the greatest players are going to be represented and showing out for that round of 16. It's going to be insane, Shun.
Oh, absolutely. And as you can see on screen there, Group F is going to be coming up next. Hero versus BTS. What was it? Barracks versus who?
Barracks
Uh,
versus Royal.
yeah, Barracks versus Royal. That's going to be super sick. And we get to see from Hero. Like, I really rate this guy. He hasn't had the best of runs in recent times, but he has always been one of the best Zergs in the world, sometimes the second best Zerg in the world. I'm not sure where he is at right now in terms of his gameplay. We'll have to wait and see. But he is going to be a real treat to watch. And we got two mirror matchups to kick things off, but I'm sure that will very quickly devolve into Terran versus Zergs as well as we go through to the winners and losers match. So don't sleep on that group, guys. That's going to be coming tomorrow here And we'll be joining you again for some more great games of StarCraft. I'm super excited to get started. I've been waking up earlier and earlier, by the way, saying so. Like my morning routine is now even more ahead of schedule, just so that I've got more time to do some revisement and get prepared for these great games.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what Barracks can do this season. I thought that he was kind of a dark horse last season, seeing that he won the SCSL over Light in season 2. I thought that, he might be just coming out swinging and absolutely smashing through, but ended up getting taken down. I think it was in the round of 16. Was a bit of a surprise. Him and Speed, both of those guys, I thought were going to do much better, but I'm curious to see what he's looking like today, and we're gonna get, or tomorrow, excuse me, and we're gonna get to see that TVT matchup straight off the bat. Um, versus Royal, I think he's gonna have an excellent showing, and I'm also very excited to see what True can do, aka BTS, that StarCraft
Yeah.
2 player, switched over, and he's been blazing it up on ladder. He's just been playing so many games, and I've had the privilege of casting a lot of those ladder games on my channel. I'm just very curious to see how he matches up on stage in the ASL.
Right. My prediction is Hero and Barracks breaking out of that group. I haven't been as impressed with Royal's play as of late. Maybe that's changed and he's kind of fixed some of the issues that we've seen in some of his online games. And we'll actually have someone like either Royal and Barracks breaking out. All that predicted Royal and Hero, if you look at it in terms of just tier lists, Hero's the tier 1 player, Royal the tier 2, Barracks tier 3, and BTS tier 4. That's not really representative of their ability, though. Barracks has come a long way in his play. He's so good these days lately. He even won an SCSL recently. He's so solid overall. I don't want to sleep on him. And TVT, TVZ, he's so good, man. And that's all he's got to worry about for this group. So I have a lot of hopes that Barracks could be breaking out of that group tomorrow, and maybe will be joined by either Hero or Royal. I would like to see some good games out of BDS, true, but I don't necessarily think True is going to be able to keep up with the caliber of play of some of these other guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, guys. Thank you so much for watching here, either live on SCTV on Soup Live or on StarCast TV. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow.
I've been John, with me saying thanks, guys. See you tomorrow.